snow fell cold on a bitter night. John was gone for the morning light. They blame Karen, but it don't sit right. Too many secrets hid from sight. Oh, the badge runs deep, the law runs thin. They stack the deck, but truth won't bend. The judge looks away, the truth gets drowned. Ain't no justice in Canton Town. Proctor's story shifts and sways. Cameras vanish, records fade. The Alberts toast while the doubts grow strong. The folks still fight, won't be long. Oh, the badge runs deep, the law runs thin. They stack the deck, but truth won't bend. The judge looks away, the truth gets drowned. Ain't no justice in Canton Town. Proctor's story shifts and sways. Cameras vanish, records fade. The Alberts toast while the doubts grow strong. The folks still fight, won't be long. Oh, the badge runs deep, the law runs thin. They stack the deck, but truth won't bend. The judge looks away, the truth gets drowned. Ain't no justice in Canton Town.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to this Jennapalooza, where we are going through what type of flavor did Carrie want when Jen called her to say, hey, the ice cream truck just pulled up outside of my house with two guys in suits asking if I'm Jen McCabe. And as I always do when these suit-dressed ice cream men stop by, I call my good friend and say, is it a swirly twirly or is it rocky roads?
Okay, I did have a question. I didn't know, and maybe they can subpoena the standard operating procedures of the Canton Police, but is it to insert yourself in investigations done by other people when you have been asked to recuse yourself from the daggone situation?
Who are you thinking about?
Well, isn't Brian Albert didn't basically the entire Canton Police
he's a
Department
Boston cop. He has nothing to do with the recusal. And I have to say thank you so much for the two Rumble rants anime. It doesn't show up in StreamYard, so I didn't see it till we ended. I believe they say April. Mo take all the notes. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Where are we looking at?
The Fed interview. Wasn't that April?
Let me go back. Looks like April is what I've got.
We thought it would be half a day today because Aiden is having his court day today as well. And maybe that Karen Reed group had to do something with them. But apparently not. We're coming back. I also thought she said it Monday that Wednesday would be half a day. But hey, we're here for the long run because That's what grifters do.
True. I will say that I am liking how he's sort of lulling her in, and it is fun to see them kind of dance with each other because Jen and Alan will kind of get to where they're like, "Oh, okay, so you're just telling me for the court," and she'll be like, "Okay, yeah, I saw through my peripheral vision, and that's what it was." And then she'll get really antagonistic, but it is kind of fun to see them both pretend to like each other when you
Oh,
know that they would.
No call tomorrow. Oh, that's perfect because I'm going to Baby Baker's tomorrow, so I don't have to
Woohoo!
rush. Yay! Gosh, yay! I just did the target lady. How do I know that and not whatever weird stuff Valhalla was yelling at me about? Another thing, Mo. Speculation time.
Yes.
What, if any, is she's not a part of what happened outside about? We didn't
So
hear this delineation about inside outside at the last trial.
I also, and I needed to check with you guys before I had to pull a runner to get the ferals. Did they isolate Brian Higgins, the two Brians? Were the two Brians always together? Because,
They were looking at pictures at the house in the house.
okay, now then she's kind of gotten real iffy about when Brian Higgins leaves.
Yeah,
So it does kind of seem like Brian is on. This could be the way I'm perceiving it. Brian is no longer on the inside. He's a guy we sort of know. Whereas was the last time were they all friends or was it
yeah.
presented
Everyone was great
differently?
friends, and they were going around in the house, and they had been in New York together, and they want to have Brian leaving the house at around 12:30. He remembers leaving around 12:30, 12:45, 1 o'clock. But he doesn't show up at the police station, which is 5 minutes away, till I believe 1:32, and is seen on a phone at 1:34. Remember to go move his cars because of the snow, even though he's so drunk that he previous in his statement said he didn't want to drive in his police cruiser because he was drunk. So he could drive his own car drunk, but he then goes back drunker and moves cars in a police parking lot.
Yeah, I didn't know that with an upcoming blizzard, all federal employees are required to file their cars in alphabetical order.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian and Brian needs to be together because they are each other's alibi. Brian comes home, Coco, the weirdo, starts cleaning, which I don't know. Maybe it's my misogynistic tendencies, but it just seems weird. The first thing you go home is, hey, we haven't seen each other all day. Oh, all you young kids are hanging out in the kitchen. Let's hug, let's say hi. And then you start cleaning the kitchen aisle. She instantly goes into, I can't live in a house with dirt. Some people think that's normal. I don't do that. But Bri, they go up and watch the pictures, is what he says. Which is weird because the pictures allegedly is out in the hallway, just inside of the front door. And they go to look at family pictures because he's only been at the house one time before where he was in the back garden.
Mind you, they've been
Okay.
together for days at this point. They went up to
Well,
New York, spent all day in New York, and then drove from New York back to Canton and met up at the waterfall.
Okay. So how many guy friends do you take to your house, with your arm around them and say, "Hey, you want to see my weird, awkward family pictures from Kmart?" And he's like, "Hells yeah, brother. Do you have matching shirts?" And he's like,
I don't.
"Hells yeah, flannel in an orchard. Do you want to see it?" And he's like, "Hells yeah." And they just run
I'm not
upstairs.
sure that I've ever shown pictures off to my guy friends ever.
I asked and said, Valhalla, this is custom in Denmark that we go to each other's houses. Then we say, this is my great-grandfather. This is my great-grandmother.
Right.
And it's just to show, okay, this is my heritage. Because all of you Americans have this, well, I'm Irish stock. All of us they're just paler than I am. And
Oh,
none
so
of
I
them
fit right in.
Yeah, none of them left the county until the last generation because no one left the county. So everyone was living on or near the same farm. But we all do it in Denmark. And it's not just the first time. It's every time you go to someone's house, they will say, "Oh, have you seen my great grandfather?" Only 4 times. But he has a wicked beard. He does have a wicked beard. So does your grandma. And this is how Danish hospitality works. That's the part of the hygge we have, is always show your family to guests.
Wait, is that how you pronounce that word with all the influencers trying to tell me to relax and be all
Hygge.
zen? Okay.
Yeah, hygge.
I was like, huggy? I was like,
I
No,
didn't
there's no
realize
you
this,
in
by
it.
the way, but so there's a Swedish book of like interview questions that Wendy and Dave both have, and it's the Swedish book of Hygge, and I didn't realize that until just this last Saturday.
Yeah, but Sweden doesn't have hygge.
I think it's the Swedish book of Hygge.
Yeah, but Sweden doesn't have. It's an only Danish concept.
I'm just telling you what the book's called.
Sweden is just trying to be Danish, and they're sucking at it.
so I shouldn't buy that book at IKEA, is what I'm getting from this.
It's a pretty good book. I recommend it. It's better than Plevin's.
Well, so is, the
Oh yeah, I
blank
didn't even
book.
think about this. The mods we're talking about. I know my mom was born 3 minutes away. My dad was born 15 minutes away. Where my grandparents were born, in this town, that town. We didn't stray. But I'm a quarter Indian, 2/4 Mexican, and 1/5 Chinese. And so what? You're American.
To be fair, Baker, I still find it hilarious that my mom tried to sell me on being part Cherokee. And I was like, so from which Nordic nation did that Cherokee tribe come from?
That's actually a thing with especially if you're from German ancestry in the United States around the 40s or 30s or whatever. A lot of white German immigrants started claiming Native American, mostly Cherokee heritage.
I was just like, Mom, I need you to look at me. I need 100 SPF sunblock to go out on a cloudy day.
This is why Elizabeth Warren has Native American ancestry, by the way, I believe.
Yeah, back like 127,000 generations ago. She's
like 0.0325% or something. Get the fuck out of here.
She wouldn't even be considered drunk in Canton with the percentage of Peruvian
she couldn't drive in Canton with that percentage. Well, Marissa, I didn't blame you. I just blame all Americans that day. That weirded me out the first time I was there. Yeah, well, I have Irish heritage. Well, I'm Swedish. I would never say that. And then they sang a song for me in Swedish, and Swedish kind of sounds to me, even though I've heard it before, it does kind of sound like hurdy burden, burden, burden day. It's not a language. It's a string of sounds that I don't know how they communicate. I still think most Swedes throw feces at each other. But I'm just saying they're not that evolved. And they were singing a song, and my sister and I was just looking at each other. And you do the thing where people are really happy, and you just say, "Oh yeah, that famous Swedish children's song." Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, I always love Herf and Turf and Turf. I don't know. Every time I hear Swedish, I just think of Betty White from the Golden Girls. Well, back in St. Olaf, Mr. Kefferferlerfrol, we had a great Harfendorfen, and it was great. I just, every time, and I know it shouldn't be a caricature, but
I didn't remember Betty White being Swedish in the Golden Girls.
She was from Minnesota, which is Swedish. It's from St.
Everyone
Olaf.
in Minnesota, even
there's a lot of Swedes in Minnesota. There's a lot of them up there.
That's why Baker won't go there.
Norwegian, Sweden. It's a bunch of the Scandinavian countries up there.
Danish isn't like that to me. I understand Danish.
It sounds kind of not like a real word when you say things.
No,
I
that's
got to be
because none of-
honest.
well, it's the same with Michelle is from Norway. When we tried to hook up with girls back, we have a big military camp in a city called Aalborg,
Ooh.
where you go and you train for, we call it UN training, to make sure that you know how to be deployed, which is just
Hurry up
please
and
don't
wait.
shoot.
Yeah.
And then you go there if you need to get your truck driving license and stuff like that. And they have this street called Jomfruengade, which is a street that's just bars and restaurants and nightclubs. Funny place. A lot of people are just stupid. So when they have to do their driving test on Friday, they'll still go out drinking on Thursday, and then they'll be sent home because we have to blow before we can take the driving test when we are up there. But sadly, when we tried to hook up with Norwegian girls in bars there, we talked English to them because Norwegian is one of those really cute languages that you really, but it's kind of like, you don't know
You
what,
feel
it's just like, it's probably words, but it's more,
I would say of all languages I've heard, German, like trying to talk Smexian German, I just don't see how it's possible.
9.
you can do that, but no, because German isn't that harsh of a language. It's just because you only hear it in movies, but you could make it a little, du bist eine schöne kleine Blümchen, ne?
No, it sounds like something I wouldn't order at a deli, to be honest.
Baker sounds like the chef from the Muppets, Angelo.
Racism. But it's still every language. No, I would say Eastern European languages are really harsh. They sound
Yeah.
really, really harsh.
Kind of all sounds the same to me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, you can say Schmetterling.
Schmetterling.
Bist du nicht ein schönes kleines Schmetterling?
What's Schmetterling mean?
Yeah, we
Butterfly.
should probably know before we say it.
Hey,
Dang it!
got a Kate.
I just committed a hate crime and I didn't know it.
The
No,
EU is
it's,
coming to get you.
Ooh, I'm real scared.
Well, I mean, we did put the Germans in charge again. Nothing bad happens when we do that.
Yeah, the weird thing, Norway changed their written or their spoken language at some point, so they have new Norwegian, and that's weird. It's
New Norwegian?
New
yeah,
Norwegian?
because they changed their. I can't remember if the written or spoken language, but that's new Norwegian, and it's just. But again,
Got bored.
I can read all of them. But when Pernilla and I write together, she writes in Swedish and I just write in Danish. We understand each other. I just can't understand what they're saying because it's just Højden, Bøjden, Gatenbøjden. Oh, I like fermented fish. Oh, I like mountains.
See, we do something over here called phonetics, right? Where like the words sound like the letters we're saying. You guys know?
Absolutely not.
No, cannot.
Can you say Minnesota as the spelling is? Can you say Illinois like the spelling is? Can you say Louisiana as the spelling is?
First of all, Minnesota is spelled the exact same way it sounds. Second of all, Illinois has a silent S. That's not a big deal. It's a native tongue.
Minnesota. Wisconsin. Michigan. Pennsylvania. New York.
That's how you say it.
Maine.
That's how you say it.
Nebraska. Iowa. Illinois.
You're saying all the
Indiana,
words. You're just putting a weird accent
you
on
said
it.
you spelled and you said it the same way. You absolutely don't. And then Louisiana.
You're just saying it with a Danish accent. That's all the difference.
No, I'm saying all the letters in the word. South Dakota. How do you spell color?
C-O-L-O-R.
Without a U because we were poor.
Yeah, but there's a U in the way you say it. You don't say color.
I don't know. Have you heard the many ways we can say crayon?
Crayon.
You must hear
Crayon,
Afrikaan now. That'll
crayon.
be interesting. Afrikaan is kind of like Dutch, but that's because of the Boer. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Boer was the So
Was it
Afrikaan is
Dutch?
kind of like Dutch. You can understand some of it when it's written, but it's not the. Kansas and Arkansas. No, it's
That one's a little
Arkansas.
different. It's all about where you put the accent, man.
No, it's all about what you just stated, Jen McCabe. You stated
Hooked on Phonics worked for me. Hooked on Phonics worked for me.
Well, on that note, I am going to go pick up the ferals, but I'm also on 43 pages of notes front and back for this week. So I still don't understand the cell phone-y things, but thank you, Valhalla, for explaining a little more to me.
I try.
Yeah, it's easy. Utah, Idaho.
Idaho.
No, Idaho.
Yeah, maybe. Idaho.
Ida is a hoe. Ida is actually a very Danish and Swedish name.
Alex, the Louisville is actually a good one. Louisville, Kentucky. That's how they say it.
Yeah.
There. Louisville.
I'm not going after the Native Americans. I'm going after the Americans.
Illinois, that's a very native word. Wisconsin, same. Minnesota, same.
I'm pretty
Michigan,
sure that.
Same.
Can I just interject here? I'm pretty sure that no local Native American tribe said, yeah, let's call this the place of the bad smell, when someone said, oh, Chicago sounds like a great name. Because that's what the Indian root of the name is. It's city of a bad smell or bad air.
Well, that actually checks out. Have you ever been
It
to
actually
Chicago?
checks out, yeah, but still. Many of the names in the U.S. are not original from the English language. Most names of towns and states come from native languages, French, Dutch, Spanish, etc.
Almost all of them, actually. Kentucky.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
It's
See, Island agrees.
Jamie, this is a good Christian channel.
Idaho? That would be how you... Okay. I see you, Jamie. You know, and damn well she's got the link.
Yosemite. No, you see me. Chattanooga.
That's a native
It's a
word.
sound a train makes. It's not a city.
It's a native word. I can't help it. It's not from the
I think you came that far, and then people just were. We call a town Tombstone. We call another one Silver Falls. We call this. Fuck it. I got a game of Scrabble. Chattanooga, blame the local Indians.
Why do you keep calling it nougat? Chattanooga.
Because that's how it's spelled.
There's no T at the end of Chattanooga. None. No T in there at all. There's a couple T's. One or two. But they're in the beginning.
Yeah, Chattanooga.
That's how it's spelled.
If I had made that town with that random Scrabble dice roll, I would have turned into the nougat capital of America.
So I don't know if you know this or not, but there were already like people here when we got here, and a lot of the names just
you took care of those.
Not me. I didn't do it. And actually, if we're getting into it, I think it was mostly the Spanish that had a lot of the.
They left a few pigs over there, and they might have carried a few diseases. Come on now.
Maybe a couple.
M-I, crooked letter, humpback, I.
M-I, crooked letter, I, crooked letter, I, humpback, I. Mississippi. That's how you spell Mississippi. M-I, crooked letter, I, crooked letter, I, humpback, I.
Well, Welsh is not a language. Welsh is a disease you have in your throat, and then you'll just...
As much as we disagree about Danish or English, we can all agree universally that Wales has got some weird shit going on phonetically. None of that makes any sense. None of it. Y'all claiming to be English.
Yeah, I know why
That
we
ain't
called them
English.
Indians, because the Spanish used an Italian to try and find Japan. That's why they're called Indians.
I think he was trying to find India, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was going to Asia, but
Yeah.
then he
was
thought,
trying to
oh,
find-
this must be India, because it's a small island, and every other place we hear about it, it's a subcontinent. Yeah.
I don't know if you could call America a small island.
He never went to America.
Well, he went to the Philippines.
He went to the Hispaniola and places like that, and then he went to Mexico.
Caribbean. He went to the Caribbean.
Yeah, and I think he actually made landfall in Mexico, but I'm not 100 on that. And what did he get us? Syphilis.
Didn't you know? I think Europe had syphilis long before that.
Nope. It's we gave the locals smallpox, and they gave us syphilis.
Syphilis is a new world disease?
Yeah.
How? How does that make sense?
When
The leper king,
the
from way
male
back
bee flies around, and
No.
you have the female flower over here, and they meet, and one of them has a dripper. It can transfer into the other one, and then you can go. The male bee flies around back in Europe, and he gets some nectar. That's how you get the disease.
Holy shit! It is from the Americas.
Why are you questioning me?
I didn't know that. I thought it was around much longer than the Americas.
No, syphilis is what we got from discovering the New World. How do you pronounce Murfreesboro?
Just like that.
Murfreesboro. Yeah, Murfreesboro.
You said it right.
See, Jamie, a
you
New World
spelled it
disease.
out phonetically.
Yeah. How do you say denim? How do you spell that? How do you spell all the towns around Canton? They are nowhere near.
I thought you were talking about blue jeans, like denim, like DENIM, denim.
No,
or
actually invented by a Jewish. Well, he didn't invent it, but blue jeans were invented by a Jewish man who Louis Strauss.
I thought the blue jeans came from the gold miners in the California.
Yeah, but there was Levi Strauss was the first one who started production of them, because they wanted something that was more durable.
Yep.
So I think before that they used
on the
pockets.
Yeah, they put the rivets on the pockets so that they could hold all their gold nuggets in there without them ripping. Fun fact.
Allegedly, rumor has it, against, we don't know for sure, polo balls has been moved, and that's what the thing earlier was about. What, if any, it's about, I don't know. There's rumors out there that either there was some kind of thing between the two families, or someone felt intimidated by him, or something like that. That's why polo balls have been moved.
Good.
We know from the last trial he constantly stared down everyone, but that's the rumor. I don't know if it's true. We'll probably not find out today. But yeah.
He looks like somebody kicked his puppy, don't he?
Yes. I'm just thinking his wife sitting next to him while he's sitting in his blue shirt and rubbing it. Does she, every time he tries to rub his chin? We have a village actually called Sexbierrum. We have more butter on our head than Americans put on their pancakes. Sexbierrum.
You have more butter on your head? Why do you put butter on your head?
I don't know. People are weird.
That's a weird thing.
Tell us what happened, damn it. We don't know what happened. I'm just speculating wildly on what I've seen on Twit.
He's been sitting directly in front of Karen Reed the entire first trial, this entire trial, and he's been just shooting daggers into her every chance he gets. So yeah. It should have been that he had to move a long time ago, in my personal opinion.
A court official asked him to move back a row per Christina Rex. Interesting. But why now?
Right. What changed? What happened that he had to move back?
We appreciate your patience.
Sorry. I
Didn't have the sound on.
All right, sorry about the delay, jurors. We were told that we blew a fuse, and that's why we couldn't get started on time. So
Only
these
half
old
an hour late.
courthouses. So, all right, we appreciate
Ooh,
your patience.
Took you a
Go
half.
ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. McCabe, when you first saw Ms. Reed's SUV pull up, very shortly thereafter, you sent a text to John O'Keefe, correct?
I walked to the door, saw the car, and that's when I sent him a text, yes.
Right. So you walked up to the door, saw the SUV outside, and then texted him something at that, basically while you're standing at the door.
I believe so, yes.
What did you text him?
Here?
Okay. That was, do you remember the time?
I don't know.
12:27.
Would it refresh your recollection if you were to look at a series of text messages contained in a Celebrate report? I think you've seen this before.
Hey, Taz.
Sure.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just told you it was 12:27. Why don't you just believe me? God.
May I ask one foundational question? before
Okay.
I give this to
Yes.
the witness? Ms. McCabe, I'm going to ask you about a series of text messages. It's not a memory contest in terms of the timing. I'm going to ask you about probably 5 or so. All of those purport to be contained in here. Do you remember the times of those 5 texts?
I don't off the top of my head.
Do you think it would refresh your recollection?
12:27,
to look at all
12:31,
one fell swoop as you look at this
45.
document? So I don't have to go back and forth?
Are these in
12:45 was the
evidence?
last one.
This is not in evidence to my knowledge. Not yet.
Would it help you to remember?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you bring
times.
it to Ms.
Thank you.
McCabe?
This is another thing that she's clearly lying about.
This one is. Yeah, I just need so much. I might turn to that. Ms. McCabe, if you wouldn't mind, take a look at the tabs, not that whole document, it's too dense. Take a look at the tabs and go in reverse chronological order and see if that refreshes your recollection about the time and content of text messages that you sent to Mr. O'Keefe those early that early morning of January 29th.
Okay. Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm not going to have to remember the exact times of all 5, am I?
I'll help.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. McCabe,
I can almost do
did
it.
you
I didn't
see a
just-
text on here that was consistent with your memory that you texted here?
Yes.
And was that at 12:14, I'm sorry, at 12:27 a.m.?
I don't know exactly. I'm assuming if it's on that paper.
If I may have just 12, Your Honor.
The phone doesn't lie. You sent those texts at that time. We were just told yesterday that this is what the phone says. So why are you texting at 12:45 when the car isn't there? Now you're going to say
Why don't I see counsel at sidebar for just a minute?
another soundbite. We just started.
What could you possibly have to yell at him about with the Cellbrite report?
It's in the report. You texted at 12:32. We know that from yesterday. And 12:45, you text, "Are you coming in?" or something like. I can't remember the last one.
Hello, I think.
Yeah, hello. And you stated
Ms.
that you
McCabe,
saw
we're
the
going to
car.
make it a little easier for you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Put it on the screen.
Just give her the damn paper. Let her read it.
Yeah, put it on the screen so the jury
May
can
I?
see it.
Yes.
Your Honor, I would offer the following stipulation at 12:14:27 on January 29th, 2022. Text message from Jen McCabe to, text message from John O'Keefe's phone to Jen McCabe's phone. Where to?
Where to? 12:18 is the phone call.
At 12:20, all these are on January 29th, 2022 at 12:27:33
Told you.
from Jennifer McCabe's phone to John O'Keefe's phone.
Here.
Exclamation point, question mark.
12:31.
Same date,
It's all
12:31
behind me.
and 47 seconds. From Jen McCabe's phone to John O'Keefe's phone, pull behind me.
At that point, John should be dead for the timeline to match up.
Yeah.
Same date, 12:40 and 31 seconds. From Jen McCabe's phone to John O'Keefe's
Hello.
phone, hello. 12:42 and 9 seconds.
Where are you?
Text message from Jennifer McCabe's phone to John O'Keefe's phone. Where are the letter U?
Okay, thank you.
And
Finally,
12:45
12:45 and 53
answer,
seconds
please.
from Jen McCabe's phone to John O'Keefe's phone. Hello.
Damn it.
I
That was
would
the
offer the
next morning.
stipulation that those are correct times and dates and contents of the text messages between John O'Keefe's phone and Jen McCabe's phone on January 29, 2022.
All right, and that's what you're agreeing to, Mr. Brennan?
Yes, Your Honor, is contained in the Cellbrite report.
Okay. All right, folks, so I told you yesterday about a stipulation when I talked about something in the front.
Yeah, so you can't lie about that.
So you just heard
You have
both
to
lawyers agree that
now
that's
fix that you
information
said
contained
in
a
previous
Cellbrite
testimony you were
report.
looking at the car every time you sent a message.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I continue?
Yes.
At some point, you indicated that, and by the way, Ms. McCabe, at 12:27, it's now been stipulated to, you texted a single word, here, exclamation point, question mark, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You indicate that you saw the SUV move up after it was in front of the 34 Fairview residence. It moved up some number of feet, correct?
The next time I looked, it was at a different location.
Right. Now, you did not see the white Jeep move from the place that you originally saw it in front of the mailbox, correct?
I never looked out at the white Jeep.
But you never saw that move ever.
No.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Higgins, that Jeep was in the same spot while Mr. Higgins was inside the residence until he left, correct?
That's what I would assume, yes.
Okay. And you never saw him go out and move his car and come back in or anything like that?
I never did, no.
After you, it's fair to say that once you noted that the SUV, Ms. Reed's SUV, was in front of the location, you started paying some attention to it.
I went to the door a few times to look out, yes.
As a matter of fact, in the course of about 19 minutes, you went to the door no fewer than 5 times, correct?
I'm not sure if it was 5.
You testified to
indicated
that.
Previously that for every time you went to the door and saw the SUV, you texted something, which are the texts contained in the document that was just stipulated to. Is that right?
I did text 5 times, you are correct.
Okay. So it's fair to say if you texted 5 times, then you went to the door 5 times, if those were associated with one another. You walked up, look out the door, see the SUV, and text something. Here, pull behind me, where are you? Those texts, correct?
I remember going to the front door, seeing the car, and texting here. When I went to the door the second time, the car had moved up towards the flagpole, and I texted, pull behind me, because I thought, did they not know where to park? Did they think they were at the wrong house?
So my question is this. Every time you went to the door, you texted something.
I'm not sure that I did, yes.
Do you remember
I'm not sure that I did,
Do
sorry.
you remember a year ago testifying that every single time you texted, you indicated that you looked out at the SUV and saw something that prompted you to text something?
Am I aware that I said that?
Correct, that you
Could you-
testified to that.
Could you show that to me, please?
Sure.
Grand
you.
jury testimony. And then she again had to admit it last year because
Yeah.
of the grand jury testimony.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Take a look at the highlighted
Sure.
portion and just read that to yourself. Let me know when you're.
I don't know, but I just noticed when we talked about it earlier, when we heard earlier, she had nothing to do with what happened outside. And it just struck me as weird.
A weird thing.
But
to
she
say.
also said that Brian Higgins' car was outside the entire time that Karen's car was outside.
It would have had to have been.
But do we know if he was inside the entire time? I don't think we have had that answer yet.
They claim that he was. They claim that he was inside.
Yeah, that was
the
at last
entire
trial.
night. Yeah.
But at the last trial, she didn't talk about the Jeep, did she? Because I think she went before Brian Higgins, and the Jeep didn't show up until Brian Higgins showed up.
Finished.
Oh, if you just told the truth, you didn't need to read all of this.
Ma'am? Yes.
No kidding.
Ms. McKay, does that refresh your recollection about the issue we were just talking about?
I see what's written.
This is my question. It's an odd statement, and that's why Mo and I was speculating earlier, and it's pure speculation. We have no evidence of anything. It's pure speculation. Could they be switching alliances? I know Brian Higgins is an outsider. She'll do anything for her family. Could they try, instead of pinning it on the girl, pin it on the weirdly homoerotic boyfriend of Brian Albert? So
to play devil's advocate, I guess she may have been referring to the car accident, right? What happened outside?
Yeah. I'm speculating, wildly speculating.
Sure.
But it's just a weird statement. She said, well, she had nothing to do with anything. But what if anything was anything? It's just, you wouldn't say that. She said, yeah, I got a text message because I wanted to know. I thought I remembered she had gone out and talked to her brother. I just wanted to make sure.
Down, yes.
Okay. Did you testify in answer to the following question? And as a matter of fact, you looked every single time that you texted. You indicated that you looked out at the SUV and saw something that prompted you to text something. Correct? Answer correct.
I answered correct to that.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you looked out, if you texted 5 times, that's all I'm getting to. You went to the door about 5 times.
I'm not sure. I remember definitely going twice. And again, if I misstated or I said I went 5 times, 4 times, I apologize.
Well, do you think this testimony is in error?
No, I don't. I'm thinking with my memory. It was 3 years ago, and I'm thinking that maybe I wasn't clear on that detail of how many times that I went to the door. What I can tell you I'm clear on is that I did go twice, and I saw it. I saw it straight ahead. I saw it at the flagpole, and a third time further up. I cannot say with certainty with my memory today that I was up at that door every single time. I'm sorry.
And by the way, when you testified, as you just saw, that was a year ago, correct? A year earlier and a year closer to the event, correct?
Yes, it was.
Your memory would have been a little bit fresher then than it is now, a year later.
I don't think I can compare my memory then to now.
You can't compare your memory? Do you think your memory gets better with time or fades a little with time?
Well, some things, unfortunately, I think about every single day with this case, the trauma of it and what I experienced and went through. And there are some things that I am certain I will never forget. And I know for sure where the car was, and I know for sure I sent those 2 texts, but I apologize if I misstated. I went up more than I did. I'm just trying to give you what I remember today.
Let's talk about those texts and and you looking out the door. You did approach the door and you saw that the vehicle was there the initial time, correct?
Sebastian, this is my big problem with this woman. She keeps doing this. Every time she's, oh, fuck, I said something stupid again. I can lie it back in order. And then she just comes off as more lying. Or as it's known technically, lie-ringer.
But she apologizes, so that's okay.
She apologized for lying. Come on,
It's okay.
Yeah. Again, she was talking to Carrie about the ice cream truck guys, and she might have forgotten how many times she went to the door.
1.
When I texted here, yes.
And you texted here, exclamation point, question mark. Is that right?
Correct.
And you indicated that when you first saw the vehicle, it was straight out ahead of you in front of the front door, and it was stationary. Is that right?
Yes.
Then you said you went back to the door and you saw that it had moved up, quote, a little bit. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Toward the flagpole. Is that right?
It was at the flagpole, yes.
And when you saw that it had moved up toward the flagpole, then you texted again at 12:40, which has been stipulated to hello. Is that right?
When I saw it move up to the flagpole, I believe I texted pull behind me.
Yes.
When you went the second time, And by the way, it's my mistake. I got I jumped over one. It was 12:31:47, which we stipulated to pull behind me. That's when the SUV was up closer to the flagpole, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Then you went yet again at 12:40 and saw the SUV yet again and texted hello.
I'm not,
Do we want to play
I'm not sure if
poker with
that
her?
was when I texted hello.
But you did see that the SUV had moved again.
Yes.
Now where was it?
At first, it was straight ahead. Then it was at the flagpole, and then it was further up.
Then at 12:42, 2 minutes later, you texted, where are you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. At that point, it was still up by the flagpole.
No, I'm not saying that it was still outside.
Where was it?
I'm not sure where the vehicle was.
At 12:45, you texted yet again, hello. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
You indicated
And this is her problem because she stated previously every time, but she learned during the last trial the car wasn't there. If you build on lies, you build on sand.
that was, you texted hello the last time you saw the vehicle. Is that right?
I'm not saying that today, no.
Well, did you say it previously?
In my testimony, did I say that the last time I texted? Do you have that written that I could see?
You just read it.
Well, that was your question that you had read to me. I never came out and said that.
Ms. McCabe, I asked you if you testified to that a year ago. That's not a question. Did you testify to that a year ago that when you went, every single time you went to the door, you texted something because seeing vehicle prompted
No,
you to
they'll
text
call
something?
her a lot later.
That's a summary of maybe the
Did you testify to that a year ago?
to what that when I went to the door. Yeah, different times when I went to the door, I did text. Yes.
And then you testified as well that you went to the door a final time and saw that the SUV was gone. It had left, correct?
Yes, at one point I did.
And that was just a couple of minutes after your last text at 12:45. Is that right?
I'm not sure of the time.
As a matter of fact, you testified previously that it was around 12:50 that you last went to the door and noted that the car was completely gone. Is that right?
I'm not sure of that.
Show her testimony.
You're not sure of that?
No, if you could show me, I'd appreciate it.
Well, they didn't do it the last time.
At
I
some
don't think
point,
so.
did you note that the vehicle was gone? Let's get to that.
Yes.
Around what time was that?
I do not know.
12:45, a little before, a little after?
I'm not sure. I can't give a time.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at how you testified to that particular time last year?
Sure.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. The highlighted portion,
Thank
Ms. McCabe?
Yeah, this is the problem with watching her. You just want to go up there and say, could you just stop lying? She's kind of like when your kids come up and say, I
Yes.
didn't eat the chocolate. What's the chocolate in your
Does that
face?
refresh your recollection as to what time last year you indicated that you went to the door and saw that the SUV was gone?
It says on the paper
Yes.
that I was asked if after 12:45 it was gone, and I answered correct.
Okay,
I never gave a time.
all right. And that coincides with the last.
Valhalla, did we start streaming after 8 o'clock this morning?
Yes.
Chad, did Valhalla just testify that after 8 o'clock this morning we started streaming? Or don't we know
I
when
didn't
we
give a time,
started?
Baker.
No,
I
you didn't give a time. So
She said that she went to the door, saw something outside that prompted her to call in regards to Karen Reed's vehicle. Her last text is at 12:45. She said that at 12:45, Karen Reed's vehicle prompted a text from her. That's
yes,
the property of the transitory property from geometry.
but she didn't state in that testimony that at 12:45, yes, I saw the car, because she was asked when you sent the last text message at 12:45, you were at the door, and she said yes. So she didn't confirm the time.
Yeah, but she did
Be-
because
no,
that's how
because she
logic
didn't say
works.
yes at 12:45. This is how logic works in Canton.
Hello, you
terrible.
texted to John's phone, correct?
Again, I don't have that paper in front of me. Is that the
Well, that's
time?
the stipulation. That's what you don't need to worry about that. That's been stipulated to. Your last hello text was at 12:45.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so that coincides, that testimony from last year coincides with your last text message saying hello. You noted that the SUV at that point had gone, had left, correct?
Correct.
So if I hear your testimony correctly, you saw the SUV in position 1.
Yes.
There was a text or something, or 2 maybe. Then you saw it in position 2. You went back to the door. and noted that SUV had moved and it was now closer to the flagpole, correct?
We've just asked
She
two
said that was
questions.
the second time.
It had moved closer to the
The
flagpole.
first question is, you said I saw it and I sent a text or two. I know I just said one here.
Okay. Then you saw it a second time,
Correct.
and now it's closer to the flagpole.
Yes, correct.
And there's texting going on. I'm not getting down to the minute of the text, but there's texting going on. You're sending texts.
I'm sending, yes.
Okay. Then you went back to the door a third time and saw that it had moved beyond the flagpole, correct?
Correct.
Then, according to your testimony last year, you went back to the door at least a fourth time to see that it was gone, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so at bare minimum, based on your testimony today, you were at the door, looking out the window at that portion of either the yard directly in front of you, and in front of the house, or toward the flagpole, or beyond the flagpole, 4 times, correct?
From last year's testimony, but what I remember today
No,
with
Ms. McKay,
certainty
that's not my
was
question.
twice.
You need to let her answer the question.
No, she needs to answer the question, and you need to shut up.
Answer your question, please.
Go ahead.
What I remember certainty is looking at it out front, at the flagpole, and beyond. I don't remember how many times I went up to the door. I was back and forth.
Right.
But you remember
According to you,
what Karen
you saw
said.
the car in 3 different positions, fight of any kind, straight out ahead of you, in the
To have that written that I could see.
at some point.
First question is, you said I saw it and I sent a text or two. I know I just said one here.
Okay.
Correct.
And according to your testimony last year, you were at in front of the house, or toward the flagpole, or beyond the flagpole 4 times, correct?
From last year's testimony, but what went back and forth.
Right. But according to you, you saw the car in 3 different positions, correct?
Correct.
So that's at least 3 times to the door, correct?
Correct.
And you saw the car gone, right?
Correct.
3 plus 1 is 4, right?
Correct.
So now you're telling us that you went to the door a minimum of 4 times and looked across that yard at the SUV, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You had a clear view of that SUV as you looked out that storm door every time you went to the door, didn't you?
It was dark and snowing, but I could see a vehicle out there, yes.
As a matter of
It
fact, you
wasn't
indicated
snowing.
that it was a clear view. There was nothing obstructing your vision, correct?
No, there was nothing but the weather conditions.
And you indicated that, and by the way, the blizzard had basically just started. There was a dusting on the ground.
It was snowing, it was accumulating.
Right, but it was early in the storm.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Right. And when asked about whether or not you had a view, well, let me ask you a different way. In terms of your view of the SUV and the distance from the storm door to the SUV to that curb line, there was nothing obstructing your view. You had a clear view of that, a good view of the SUV, correct?
When I looked out the window, I could see the SUV in front of me, yes.
At no time during any of this interaction with the door, meaning going back and forth through the storm door, texting, looking outside, seeing the SUV in position 1, seeing the SUV in position 2, seeing the SUV in position 3, at no time did you hear any noise that was unusual, did you?
No, I didn't.
You didn't hear any screaming?
No,
You didn't hear any yelling?
no,
No loud voices?
no,
No foul language?
no,
You didn't hear a door slam?
no,
You didn't hear a verbal argument or a fight of any kind?
no,
You didn't hear a revving engine?
no,
You didn't hear the squealing of tires or the scraping of tires on the pavement?
no,
You didn't hear a collision take place
no,
or a crash
no,
or screams for help,
no,
moaning, groaning as if someone was in distress?
no.
As you looked at the SUV the first time, you've already indicated that you had a clear view straight out the door, right? It's right in front of the front door as a crow flies, right? It's not at an angle.
Right there. Correct.
Okay. You also previously indicated that you saw tire tracks in the roadway.
Yes,
In that very, very light dusting of snow, the accumulation that you talked about, you saw tire tracks of some sort.
yes.
So that's down on the ground, beyond the yard, somewhere in the roadway.
In the street, correct.
You had a good view of those tire tracks as well, correct?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, you were able to describe those as sort of almost a wave, I think you once said.
Yeah, across the street. I could see it because of the street light that was across the street.
Okay, and that presented at least enough illumination based on your view. You could see the tire tracks in the snow.
Yes, over to the left, yes.
Now we've got a
And
street
you
light.
detailed not just the shape of those tire tracks as being sort of like a wave, but where those tire tracks were, correct?
No, like this, yeah.
Where did you see them?
I believe over to the left, if I'm looking on the street. Oh, sorry, straight.
So if you're looking outside at the SUV, I'm just going to turn my back to the jurors for a second. For perspective. If you're looking outside the door, when you say straight out, the SUV is straight outside. When you say to the left, you mean to the left of the SUV on the ground, that's where you saw the tire tracks.
Yes.
Like somebody might
Where the
parallel
Jeep
park
is?
or something.
Kind of a wave. Yeah, I can't really explain what it was. I just saw it.
You weren't paying special attention. You weren't looking for tire tracks, were you?
No, when I glanced out, I saw it.
You weren't looking for anything in the roadway at that point. You just glanced out. There was something in your peripheral vision, and you made note of it.
Yes.
Isn't there supposed to be a Jeep there? How's that possible?
And the only thing between you and the SUV as you looked out was the lawn.
Correct.
There's no ditches or hills in that lawn. It's a flat lawn, correct?
I wasn't looking at the ground. I was just kind of looking like I am at you
That's
right
not my
now,
question.
straight.
You know that lawn. You've been in that house 100 times, 500 times. There's no ditches or berms or hills or mountains on that lawn. It's just a flat lawn, right?
I guess you could categorize it as flat. Yeah.
Can we take a look? May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay. Can you take a look at that
Sure.
photograph for a quick second? Tell me if you recognize it.
I do. Yes.
What do you recognize that as being?
34 Fairview.
That's the same photograph, just a little modification on it that you saw a few minutes ago.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask that be marked as identification.
Okay.
Wish to publish?
Not for identification, no.
I'm happy to read it as,
Your Honor, if I may, if it's marked for identification, I wouldn't object to showing it
Okay. All right.
as a chalk at this point.
May I publish?
Yes.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
There you go. Just walk in there. There you go. Thank you. What's depicted in that photograph?
34 Fairview.
Do you see the front door that you went in?
I do. Yes.
Can you point it out for the viewers, please?
Sure. Right there.
Okay, the one with the brick steps leading up to it.
Yes.
Now, with this perspective, can you point out the side door?
Sure.
That looks like a screen door just to the right of the hedges.
Yes.
With that perspective, can you point out the garage door?
Or that one. Sorry.
That's just to the right of the window inside that recess of the home?
Yes.
Okay. And does that fairly and accurately depict the lawn as it was on January 28th, 29th, other than the fact that it's different weather? The
Right.
shape of the lawn?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll take that down as well.
So what was that marked as, Madam Court Reporter? Thank you.
Your Honor, I would ask to move that in evidence. If we need to take a minute on that, I'm happy to, but that is my request.
Is there an issue?
No, I don't want to object.
Okay.
46.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I continue, Your Honor?
Yes.
The first time you looked out over that lawn to the SUV, you did not see John O'Keefe, did you?
No, I did not.
He was not outside that SUV.
No.
He was not standing or sitting.
Not that I saw.
He certainly wasn't on the ground, was he?
Not that I saw.
The second time you looked out and saw the SUV, now the SUV
I think that's something the defense must have taken because I can't remember ever seeing it without a slant, so it looked bigger,
is more toward the flag.
kind of like
correct?
my pictures.
And you had a clear field of view between you standing at that door and the SUV. You've already described that view, correct?
I can see the SUV. Correct.
Right. And you could see everything in front of the SUV as well. couldn't you?
I just would go to the door and look at the SUV. I wasn't taking in all the surroundings of.
Right. But just like you weren't taking in the surroundings, specifically looking at the tire tracks, and you saw the SUV sitting right in front of you, you saw the through your peripheral vision, you know, the tire tracks.
Yes, and that's lighted where around the SUV was very dark.
I didn't ask you about lighting yet. We'll get to that.
I'm
You
sorry.
looked at tire tracks, even though you weren't looking for tire tracks, right?
Yes, I did.
Something stood out to you in your peripheral vision. Just look out. There they are.
Yes, absolutely. Mhm.
That second time you looked directly at the SUV with no obstruction between you and the SUV, you did not see John O'Keefe standing outside the SUV.
No,
He wasn't sitting down.
no,
He wasn't lying down.
no,
You certainly did not see his body in the snow toward that flagpole.
no.
And you would have been looking directly toward that flagpole, correct?
I was look-
Directly.
I was looking at the vehicle.
Directly toward the flagpole, Ms. McCabe.
I was looking in the direction of the flagpole
Right.
at the vehicle.
Do you know what he just did there? He just ruined the entire timeline again for the defense. Because John O'Keefe is dead on the ground now, according to the timeline.
At 12:41, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Karen Reed is back home at his apartment, but she still saw her.
Vehicle, yes.
Right. And you saw no body in the snow, did you?
I didn't look for a body in the snow.
I didn't ask you if you looked for one. You weren't looking for tire tracks either, were you? But you saw those.
I did see those, yes.
And you did not see a body in the snow.
Did she claim she saw tire tracks on the grass?
No, in the street, but she said that she did it she saw them to the left of Karen's Lexus, but I don't know how that could be if Brian Higgins's Jeep is there.
Well, that's two car lanes, so one car lane.
She didn't
behind.
specify exactly when she saw them. It was pretty early on, I think. I think it was the first or second time that she saw
I know.
them.
I think she's trying to get ahead of her husband, saying, "I saw tire tracks after a three-point turn," and then whoops, I didn't see that.
No, I did not.
John O'Keefe, 6'2", 216 pounds, brawny guy, big boy, right?
I don't think I'd refer to him as a big boy, but he was
I
tall,
would.
yes.
All right. You certainly didn't see him
6'2", 216.
prostrate
He's not little.
in the snow the way you found him the next morning, correct?
He's about
Later
my
that morning.
weight, but 2
I didn't
inches
see
taller
him
than me.
on the ground, no.
Correct.
I'm not a little guy.
The third time you looked out toward that SUV, it's still in the direction of the flagpole, but a little further up, a little deeper to the right, correct?
Yes.
Again, looking directly in the direction, at least, of the flagpole and that area of the yard, you're looking beyond that to the SUV, correct?
Yes.
You did not see John
So there
O'Keefe
should-
standing outside the vehicle?
I did not know.
He was not sitting outside the vehicle,
No,
and he certainly wasn't lying on the ground, was he?
I didn't see him.
And the last time you looked out, Ms. McCabe, this is now 12:45 or so, the last time you looked out, the SUV was gone. Is that right?
Yes.
But you were still looking in that direction because that's the last place you saw the SUV. Is that right?
I looked out the window like this. I wasn't searching anywhere, but just glanced out the window. And
Stop trying to. For fuck's sake.
The window or the door? The window on the door? Is that what you're saying? Something's wrong. Why do you keep changing from door to window? Maybe I'm just looking too much into it. Maybe she's talking about the window on the door, but nonetheless, it's weird. Why would you change terminology for the pane of glass you're looking through?
If you're looking towards the car, you are looking at whatever. You don't have to. The human vision is made for hunting. It's not. You don't only see this.
Right.
We are hunters. We are actually a really, really weak species. So we need to be very observant and see, oh, there's a snake, there's a lion, there's a woolly mammoth. Our brains register everything in our field of vision. It'll then sometime ping on something and say, oh, you have to be worried about that. Your field of vision isn't this.
You know, Baker, I've done something with they call it guard duty before, where you have to sit and you have a sector to watch, right?
Yes.
And you can see like the whole sector at one time. It's kind of amazing. It's kind of amazing.
Do you also learn that when you're doing guard duty at night, you're doing this constantly? Because if you look at something, you will see everything that your mind will start making up. Oh, that tree moved. But if you do this, all the little inconsistencies will pop because your brain is actually taking in the full vista while you're doing this. And then, oh, there was a person there. Now he's there.
It's an amazing
Has she
thing.
ever used her eyes before? Can she see the full picture of Alan Jackson while she can see the back wall and the podium in front of him? Or can she only see Alan Jackson right now? That's what he should do.
That's what he should do. He should lay down in front of the podium, ask her to look at the podium and describe the color coat he's wearing.
Objection.
I didn't see it.
I'm just asking you a direction. Not whether or not you were searching. I know you didn't see that
that's
search.
funny.
That's not my question. My question is, were you looking toward the area where you last saw the SUV around 12:45 a.m.
Yes,
That would be directly across the lawn, directly past the flagpole, and directly into the street where you last saw the SUV, correct?
I glanced out. Yes, correct.
And the same way you glanced out at the SUV, to use your words, glanced out and saw the tire tracks, right?
Correct. Yes.
But you did not see John O'Keefe standing on the lawn.
No,
You did not see him sitting on the lawn.
no,
And you certainly did not see his body lying on the lawn, did you?
no, no, I did not.
Ultimately, you left the location that
Good girl, Gabby.
night, the gathering at 34 Fairview. Is that right? You didn't spend the night there?
No, I went home.
About what time was it that you left the location?
Approximately, it was after 1:30. Approximately 1:30, 1:45.
So this is maybe an hour later, later than what we've just been discussing.
Yes.
Seeing the SUV. Who did you leave with?
I left with my husband, Matt, and Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson.
Who was driving?
Sorry, my husband, Matt, was driving.
And where was Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel sitting in that SUV?
They were in the back seat.
By the way, what kind of SUV were you in that night?
A Yukon?
Four-door,
yeah,
extended
big.
seating?
Yes.
When the SUV pulled out of the driveway, it was in the driveway?
Yes.
When the SUV backed out of the driveway, doing a three-point turn, backed out of the driveway, did it go toward Chapman or did it go toward Cedar Crest?
It went towards Chapman.
So as you backed out of the driveway, you would have been heading up toward the flagpole side of the property rather than back toward the driveway side of the property, correct?
Correct.
You would have driven directly adjacent to the area where John O'Keefe's body was later
Gabby is the
discovered at
devil.
6:04, 6:03 a.m., correct?
Yes, correct.
You were seated in the passenger seat of the vehicle, not the driver's seat.
Correct.
You were seated in the front of the vehicle, not the back seat.
Correct.
You would have been closest to the yard as y'all drove past, correct?
Correct.
That's a newer model Yukon. I'm assuming that the headlights automatically turn on at night.
Yes.
So the headlights were illuminated.
Yes.
Did your husband, Matt, did he turn on the brights or did he leave the beams on low? Or do you know?
I don't know.
But certainly the area in front of that SUV, that Yukon, was well lit.
The lights were on, yes.
You did not see anything out of the ordinary as you drove right by that location, did you?
I was looking in the back seat when we were driving.
Did you see anything out of the ordinary on that lawn as you drove by in that SUV?
No, because I wasn't looking at the lawn.
You certainly did not see John O'Keefe dressed in dark clothing laying prostrate in the lawn.
No.
Even if these kids are in the backseat making fun of her frozen peanut butter and bread, because she leaves it out in a car in a snowstorm. How would that go? You get into the car, you buckle up, the kids are saying, Jen, why do you have peanut butter in your car? Oh, you girls. It's because I'm taking care of a little one. Or would you be backing out and they would be, what the hell, there's some peanut butter. So she instantly gets into the car, turns around, and never ever looks that way again until she...
I did not.
No, she has to be stone cold sober because she had 3 drinks and a sip of a White Claw over a span of 4.5 hours. Even Dave couldn't be drunk at that time.
You said that you were turned around talking to the other
hey,
young
Dave.
ladies in the SUV, Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson. Is that right?
Yes.
You indicated that you were engaged with them about a conversation having to do with bread, maybe peanut butter or something.
Yes.
You didn't, as
Yeah,
you
MG,
passed by that location,
she's such a liar.
You didn't hear Julie Nagel say anything out of the ordinary about having seen something.
No.
You didn't hear Sarah Levinson say anything out of the ordinary about having seen something.
No.
And according to you, you were turned around, directly engaged with both these young ladies as you passed by that area where John's body was later discovered. Is that right?
When we pulled out, I turned around and I was talking to them about the bread and the peanut butter. I'm not sure exactly where we were driving, but it was when we pulled out, yes.
You certainly never heard anybody say anything like, what was that, or anything close to that.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I'd like to turn your attention to your arrival back at 34 Fairview just after 6 a.m. the next morning. You indicate that the visibility was relatively poor and that you could not see John O'Keefe on that lawn from your perspective.
No, her husband was driving.
Correct?
there's no way
It was-
that
the visibility
he was
was
covered
extreme.
in snow by the time, if he was laying in the yard, by the time they left, there's no
Yeah.
way he was covered in snow. There would have been just him laying there. There wouldn't have been any snow on him whatsoever.
What's the law of drink multiplication?
She said 2 or 3 inch slip. Gotta use the law of drink multiplication with that answer. Multiply by 3, probably. I don't know.
Oh, so it's kind of like how many peens a woman had.
Yeah. Exactly like that.
Yeah, you time it.
Yeah,
by,
I've only
time it
slept
by
with like 5
27.
guys. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Extremely poor. And no, I could not see him.
And no, the visibility wasn't extremely poor. Let's
It wasn't.
get the meteorologist in here and testify that there was absolutely no snow, because we can see the photographs. I wish they would show the photographs from the library saying this is an hour before. So you're saying now the snow was so. Where did the snow go? Because it only snowed 3.3 inches accumulated in 24 hours.
You were in the front seat, passenger side.
Yes, I was.
It was Karen Reed who actually saw Mr. O'Keefe and jumped out of the car and began attending to him immediately, correct?
Facts.
Karen got out of the car and ran to John O'Keefe.
And you stayed by the car, and Miss Roberts ran over to assist Miss Reed in giving first aid to, at least initially, to Mr. O'Keefe. Is that right?
No, that is not. Carrie got out and walked over, and then I got out and walked over.
You indicated that well, let me ask a different question. Yesterday, you testified in pretty significant detail that when you got out of the car, you could not see anything even close to the flagpole, correct?
Visibility was very bad, yes.
Matter of fact, you used the word whiteout conditions. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Whiteout conditions, you basically can't see your hand in front of your face.
I wouldn't say that extreme, but I used whiteout as there's just snow coming at you.
You were specifically asked by Mr. Brennan, how close did you have to get before you could actually see anything of note where Miss Reed had gone? Is that right?
Yes.
You testified yesterday that you could see just merely shadowy figures of Miss Reed and Carrie Roberts, and it wasn't until you got very close over to them that you could see John, in your words.
Correct.
As a matter of fact, you followed that up by saying that that was the first moment, once you got basically on top of them, that was the first moment that you realized that it was John, that there was a body on the ground, correct?
I said as I got close to them, I don't think on top of them.
Fair enough. It's my words, not yours. You did say, quote, very close to them, correct?
I'd have to see it, but
Well, you just
It was
testified to
fun.
it yesterday. You remember saying, I get very close to them.
I know I said I had got very close to them or close to them, something like that,
Okay.
yes.
I don't have a transcript of yesterday's testimony, I'm sorry. Last year, you testified to something very different than that, though, didn't you?
The weather report hasn't been entered yet, and I don't know why. Well, he can't bring it in with this witness.
No,
Isn't it true that last year you testified that you got out on the passenger side of the vehicle, which is, we'll agree, the furthest side from the lawn, as Ms. Roberts was driving from Chapman toward Crestview, Cedar Crest, correct?
yes,
You testified that you were on the passenger side, and as you got out of the vehicle, you noted that Karen Reed was already at John. Is that right?
as I got out and walked around the back of the vehicle, the shadowy figure of Karen had already gotten onto something.
You further testified that
Shadowy
as
figure
you got
of
out
Karen.
of the vehicle, you noted that she straddled John, lifted up his shirt, lifted up her shirt, and went to lay on him. And Ms. Roberts went over and said she started removing snow from John's face. Correct?
I have the page and line number.
Where are you,
Sure.
Mr. Jackson?
May 17, 2024, RT 114, lines 14 to bottom, onto 115, line 4. Is that how you testified last year?
I'm sorry, would you mind just repeating it?
Sure.
Thank you.
You testified in substance that you were on the passenger side of the vehicle, and as you got out, quote, as I got out, end quote, she, Miss Reed, was already at John. You indicated that you saw her straddle him, lift up his shirt, lift up her shirt, and lay on top of him while Mr. Roberts went over and removed snow from his face. That's how you testified last year, correct?
Okay.
Well, there was a lot less shadowy
Is that
then.
how you testified
Okay.
last year?
I'm not sure. I know,
Next question.
Would it refresh your recollection if you were looking at a copy of your testimony from last year?
I don't think looking at it would refresh my memory. I know I might have used different words, but the bottom line is I
Stop lying. Stop trying to save yourself. You said it. Just admit to it instead of doing this crap all the time.
got out of the car, went behind the car, went over, and Karen had done that.
Mr. McCabe, I'm asking, do you think it would refresh your, you don't have a good recollection of how you testified last year on your oath? Sitting on that witness stand. I'm asking, do you think it would refresh your recollection to see your transcript from last year?
I don't need to see my transcript. I know what I know and I know what I remember. So
That's not my question. I'm not asking what you remember now. I'm asking how you testified a year ago now.
whether I said it was as we're fighting over silly words, whether I said it as I got out of the car, we were there.
Words matter. They matter a lot.
Okay, so remember, Mr. Jackson, no comments. Ms. McCabe, can I answer his question?
Okay.
Do you remember exactly how it is that you testified last year?
I do not know.
Mayor Pro-
Yes.
Thank you.
The whole fake nice thing is weird.
Just because I told a different lie last year doesn't mean I can't change it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. McCabe, does that refresh your recollection as to how you testified in substance last year?
I see what it says I said, but it's a little bit different than what you stated.
Okay, then let's walk through that. Did you indicate last year that as you got out of the vehicle, that's when you could see what Ms. Reed was doing with John O'Keefe?
No, he's not impeaching her per se, but he is planting the. He's not here to say you lie, you lie, you lie, because that would make him antagonistic. What he's doing is showing the jury that she has changed her testimony, which is the same thing, because she will have to say, I didn't say that. But he gets to read her previous testimony and show she changed it. And he needs to go this way to say, I need to refresh your memory. Does it refresh your memory? So you don't remember this year, because he has to do that. That's Bev would have said you have to ask differently.
Down to the detail of pulling her shirt up and pulling his shirt up to try to go skin to skin.
I object.
Why don't I see it side by? Why don't you bring it back to Mr. Jackson, please?
Let's do a side by side by.
You claimed on direct examination today, as a matter of fact, that Ms. Reed looked at you at the scene and said the phrase, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. She said it 3 times, very distinctly, according to your testimony, correct?
She did, yes.
That was so impactful that it had the effect of putting you in some sort of shock and horror. Is that right?
I was in shock the whole morning, but that statement definitely was a lot.
And that's an incredibly memorable statement for you to have heard and now recount to us in this trial, correct?
Correct.
Something that you wouldn't easily forget or overlook. Is that right?
Something I wouldn't.
Something you would not easily
Correct.
forget or overlook. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
As a matter of fact, some might say it's the centerpiece of your testimony.
Objection.
Sustained.
Shock and horror.
I liked he got that in there.
Ms. McCabe, you testified at a grand jury in April of 2022, did you not?
I did, yes.
before you testified, you took an oath, very much like the oath that you took before you testified in this case, correct?
Correct.
You swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, correct?
Correct.
And that included the whole truth at the state grand jury, correct?
Correct.
Well, I don't know how well it lands with the jury, but with everyone who's seen her before, she comes off as very, very shaky and disingenuous, I would say.
She always does, though.
Come on.
That was only weeks, several weeks, but weeks after this incident, right? April 26th versus January 29th, 2022. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Things were much fresher in your mind then than they are now.
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Especially something as momentous as an admission from my client that she hit him. Would you agree?
Would I agree that she
Nope.
said that?
Would you agree that that would be fresh in your mind? Something as momentous as that. You wouldn't forget that.
I will never forget it.
You wouldn't overlook that.
I will never forget it.
You would not overlook
You
that
have
either,
to
would
say
you,
it
Ms. McCabe?
in the grand
I
jury.
answer the questions I'm asked.
Can you answer the question that I just asked? You're not answering my question. Would
Oh,
you
she's doing the
overlook that?
Karen Roberts. I wasn't asked that specific question, so I didn't need to say those words. So you texted when you saw the car at 12:45. Yes, you saw the car at 12:45. I never gave a time.
And the reason you wouldn't overlook it is because it was so impactful on you, having heard that. Not once, not twice, 3 times. I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Is that right?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
Take a look at that document. Tell me if you recognize it.
Yes, I see it.
Is that a transcript of your entire testimony at the grand jury in April of 2022?
I believe so, yes.
You've reviewed it in the past?
I have read it about a year ago, yes.
You read it in anticipation of your testimony a year ago, correct?
Yes, I reviewed it.
Have you reviewed it in preparation for your testimony today?
No, I haven't.
Yesterday. Ms. McCabe, turn to the page or pages in that transcript where you recount to the grand jurors that my client said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
This is over 227 pages.
Yeah, find the one you said it.
How long did you say it was, Ms. McCabe?
227?
I'm not going to let her read 227 pages.
Well, she can't find it because it's not there.
I reviewed it a year ago, yes.
You read the whole thing, cover to cover, didn't you?
I skimmed through it.
One of the most important points in your testimony yesterday and today is recounting these jurors the phrase,
Stop looking at the jury.
I hit him, I hit him. Is that right?
Objection.
To the form that I'm sustaining it.
Was it important to you to tell these jurors that you heard my client say, I hit him 3 times?
I answered the questions and I'm telling the jurors what I know.
Was it important to you before testifying today that you recount to these jurors the phrase, I hit him, coming out of my client's mouth?
Your client said she hit him, yes.
That's not my question. Listen to my question, Mr. McCabe.
I'm sorry.
Was it important to you
Stop saying you're
Before you
sorry
testify.
because you're not.
to tell these jurors under oath that my client said, I hit him 3 times?
As a juror, as a witness, it's important to tell the truth and to answer the question you were asked.
And in point of fact, in your entire grand jury testimony, you never said, my client.
Dang it, Core TV.
Said the words,
It's
I
moving
hit him. Did you?
Again, it's 227 pages.
Ms. McCabe, you were there. They're your words. I'm not asking you to rehearse something. You were there. Did you tell the grand jurors that my client said I hit him?
I have testified a number of times, but I was there the morning of January 29th when your client said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Did you tell that to the grand jurors?
I'm not sure.
Why not?
Because you didn't, did you?
Again, I'm not sure.
Ms. McCabe, you were asked in your grand jury testimony no fewer than a dozen times, 12 times, 12 separate times, you were asked to repeat words that my client said both before going to and at the scene at 34 Fairview that morning, correct?
Objection.
Do you know the answer to that?
No.
You were asked multiple times what my client's words were that you heard her say going to and at the scene, correct?
I was correct.
And you recounted those words truthfully and honestly at that time, correct?
Correct.
Because you were under the same oath that you're under today.
Correct.
And things were much fresher in your mind then than they are now 3.5 years later. Would you agree with that?
I
She's
hit him.
not
I
going
hit
to.
him. I hit him is just as fresh today as it was 3 years ago.
Turn to page 190, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
She's gonna make him have to go through every
Recording
time
counsel lines
they
10 and
bring up
11.
her words.
I think he's got it on a separate packet, like the 12 questions.
Well, I know, but he's making her go through all of this. He's like, "You want to play, Jen? Okay."
Which lines? I'm sorry.
10 and 11.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You recounted what Ms. Reed said to you over the phone to the grand jurors, correct?
Correct.
And what she said at 4:53 a.m. was, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? She didn't say it. She asked it, correct?
She didn't say that at 4:53.
Did you testify that what Ms. Reed said to you that morning over the phone was, could I have hit him? Did I hit him?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
Yeah. Just wanted to verify a page number, Your Honor. May I approach?
Yes. Why don't you tell Mr. Brennan the page number?
I will, with each one. If you turn to page 192. Line 4. What did you tell the grand jurors my client said in that answer?
Foundation.
It's
What
a
are we
grand
talking
jury.
about?
I'll ask it a different way. Did you answer a question on page 192, line 4, concerning my client's statement?
Did I answer a question?
You were answering a question, correct?
Oh, yes, yes.
All right.
I'm sorry.
And the answer that you gave to the grand jurors was, she said, could I have hit him? Correct?
Yes, that's part of the answer I gave.
Turn to page 193.
Right,
Objection.
Farrell?
So
0% chance.
We need context in order for this to be admissible, Mr. Jackson. I have no idea what that said.
Context. It's a grand jury testimony. It was
It's the
said
grand
at the
jury.
phone at this time. Bev, you read all of this. It's in the evidence.
Your Honor, everyone, I can make an offer of proof at sidebar if you wish.
why don't you come to sidebar?
Sure.
I don't
bring
want to
it
have
up.
you at sidebar. I can go to sidebar. Okay. Update from Aiden. Sorry. They want to have his bail revoked because he threatened Tully on a public live stream. Well, he made comments and calls it indirect contact and witness intimidation. And defense position is it's absolutely not that. And they have a lot of case law that says it's not that. He's a journalist. And then came the bombshell from the Karen Reed stand today. Jennifer McCabe, alleged victim witness in the charges against Carney, made a stunning admission. She testified that when FBI came to her house, she asked for 10 minutes. We know this. After warning her of a crime, it's a crime to lie, asked who she called. She said, her husband and Karen Roberts. She hid the calls to Brian Albert and the DA advocate. She lied to the FBI. This admission by Jennifer McCabe is catastrophic to her credibility. She lied to federal agents about crucial actions related to core investigation. How can the state claim Aiden is intimidating witnesses, including her, when their own key witnesses is an admitted liar to the FBI? So the motion to revoke bail is based on alleged witness intimidation, but when a key alleged witness admits to be lying, it fundamentally undermines the credibility of that
I
witness.
have notes.
Okay, thank you.
I think my notes was
That's
on page 192, line 4. For context, were you talking about a statement that was made in Karen's car on that morning before you got to the scene?
192.
192, line 4.
Yes, that was a comment she made in the car.
And she said the phrase, you recounted that she said the phrase, could I have hit him? Correct?
sadly no.
Yes, that was part of my answer.
Take a look at page 193, line 1 through 2.
You don't need to read what he didn't tell you to read.
This was also in the context of a conversation that was in Karen's car, correct?
Yes.
And the phrase that you attributed to my client was, could I have hit him? The question, correct?
Yes.
Page 193, line 23. In the context of being in John's driveway at One Meadows,
Yes.
and you attributed the statement, and she's asking if she could have hit him, correct?
Yes, when she showed me her taillight.
Page 201, lines 23 and 24.
Love how she always want to give it context.
This is driving to Fairview. She asked, what if I hit him? Could I have hit him? Correct?
Can you tell me the lines?
I'm sorry, lines 23 and 24. Page 201.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I've read it.
She stated, according to you, what if I hit him? Could I have hit him? Correct?
Yes, she did.
Page 202, top of the page, line 1 and 2. Again, in context, this is driving to Fairview before you arrived at Fairview. And she again asked, quote, according to you and your testimony in front of the grand jury, could I have hit him? Correct?
Yes, I see that here as part of my answer.
Then turn to page 208, lines 24 and 25.
I'm sorry, what lines 24 and 25?
Lines 24 and 25, let me know when you've
I've read them, thank
reviewed
you.
those. For context, this is at the scene outside Fairview.
Yes.
And you told those grand jurors under oath, she asked, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Correct?
Yes.
On page 208, lines 24 and 20, I'm sorry, 208 and 209, going on to page 209, lines 1 through 3. You actually recounted to the grand jurors a conversation that you said my client had with a female EMT standing right there, exactly as you testified to today. Female EMT. You see that?
I do, yes.
And what did you say my client's statements were in front of that female EMT?
In this, I say that she said, could I have hit him? Is he dead?
It's actually, did I hit him?
Oh, sorry, I missed that part. I apologize. Did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead?
And that was at the scene in front of the female EMT, exactly the scene that you're describing. You attributed the 3 statements to my client to today, right?
There was many different times when we were talking to different EMTs, the female EMT, the men, police officers.
May I approach?
That isn't shown on the video.
You are shown, and you said that is exactly when it happened. You are such a liar
Just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
that you should be encased in flames from your pants right now. Hey, Jacob. Thank you so much for a little rumble up.
So how is she going to spin this with Brennan? I didn't know the grand jury was for serious about this whole perjury thing.
Hey. I thought at that
Yes,
time maybe, but I
McCabe,
thought
your
about
full
it and
statement.
I remembered wrong.
At page 208, starting at lines 22 through 25, going on to page 209,
I will
down to
never
line 4,
trust the jury.
was, quote, so there are different, police officers getting statements from us. And at one point, I'm standing with Miss Reed, and she's saying, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? And there was, I believe, an EMT, a female, standing right next to me, listening to her yelling, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? It was pretty much nonstop. That was your testimony in front of the grand jurors, correct?
Yes, it was.
And that was April 26th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Not one time. Not one time, Ms.
Yeah.
McCabe, did you utter the phrase, I hit him, as it relates to my client in front of that grand jury on April 26th, 2022. Did you? Not once.
I'd have to read through the 227 pages to see.
As you sit here today, do you remember ever saying to those grand jurors, she said, I hit him, I hit him.
Just the gig is up. You were asked the exact same question last year, and you have to say no, because you didn't.
I hit him in front of a female EMT.
I've spoken to in a few grand juries, what I said specific.
Whoops. I've spoken in a few grand juries. So now you want to go into the one where they're trying to impeach Karen and Turtle Boy?
So do we want
At
the
different
wheel
ones.
again?
I don't
No,
recall at this moment, but I do
just
know
make one
that
big.
morning your
I'm
client
just lying.
said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him 3 times, and there was a female EMT there.
Just never mentioned that before now?
I just, memories grow better.
You spoke with Trooper Proctor just the same day, right? January 29th.
Yes.
Trooper Proctor was taking notes
Yes.
about your conversation.
Yes, he was.
You reviewed those notes, as a matter of fact, at some point.
I didn't review his notes. I think I've seen a
No, she forgot until 2024.
report at one point or another.
She never said, I hit him till trial last year.
On that very day, January 29th, 2022, when you were asked to recount what happened at the scene, who was doing what and who said what. You never told Trooper Proctor that my client said, I hit him either, did you?
Oh, I told him. Yes, I did.
He just leave that out of his report?
I'm not responsible for his report.
No, you're not. But you have read his report.
So again, no comments, Mr. Jackson.
You have read his report, right?
Who's
I have seen
sleeping
it before, yes.
At the microphone. Yeah, she's a little long in the tooth.
May I approach her?
Yes.
It's different.
Thank you.
You looked at that report for another particular this morning. You still recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Can you review that report, scan it, and let me know when you're done?
Okay, is there something specific I should be looking for?
Just read it.
I don't think you're going to find it, Ms. McCabe.
All
I hit
right,
him.
so again, jurors disregard the comments.
Did you say I hit him?
Question answer format.
She said, is there something specific I should be looking for? She said, you're not going to find it. It's I hit him.
I hit him.
My question is, do you see the phrase, I hit him, as it's attributable to my client in that report? Objection.
Assistant.
Yeah, she read the report. Why didn't she ever call him up and say, hey, Proctor, baby, you did wrong?
She's reviewed that
Do you
report
recall
several
telling
times now.
Trooper Proctor
Yeah.
that my client said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him? Objection.
Do you recall that?
Yes, I told him.
Bullshit.
He was taking notes at the time.
He was taking notes, correct?
He just didn't put it in there.
I'm assuming he,
The report that you're holding.
Sustained.
The trooper that made the arrest didn't bother to take down the confession statement.
11:35 or so a.m. interview that you did with Trooper Proctor.
At this point, I'm just
Yes,
so
it
over
does.
this lady.
She's
You said you
ridiculous.
reviewed that report in the past.
yes, in the past.
Pew,
And
pew.
nowhere in no place in that report does the phrase I hit him show up anywhere. Correct. Objection.
Get to the microphone.
May I approach?
Yes.
He just laughed at Brennan.
Sorry, Mr. Brennan, I'm sorry. I'm being vague. I was just grabbing the report back. Sorry.
Did Brennan just stand up like he was about to do something?
Yeah, what was
Yeah,
going
he thought
on
he was
with
done.
that? I mean, we're not going to get off this witness today,
No.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Sure.
or maybe we will.
Well, there's redirect and then recross.
Oh, God.
I want to
Yeah.
draw your attention to the very early morning hours of January 29th, around 4:53 a.m. when you indicated you received that phone call from Kaylee's phone. Do you have that time and date in mind?
Yes, I do.
My client told you that John had not come home, correct?
Yes,
And you knew that Miss Reed at that point was awake and looking for John.
I didn't know what, I just knew that she was awake and screaming.
Right, because she was worried about where John was. Objection.
Exactly, MG. Exactly.
You've been asked who you communicated with first thing that morning after you received that first call from Miss Reed. Is that right?
Yes,
You were asked by Trooper Prince in her formal interview. Trooper Prince interviewed you on February 1st, about 3 days after the incident, correct?
I met with a lot. I don't really remember specific days.
Do you remember a female trooper?
Yes, I do, actually.
Okay. In your house?
Yes,
Or I should say at your house?
yes.
That was around 3 days after the incident?
Was it Tuesday, maybe? Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I think so, yes, if
Okay.
it's the one I'm thinking.
That would be 3 days.
You were also asked at the same grand jury who you communicated with on the morning of January 29th. Do
Okay,
you remember that?
not specifically.
Would it refresh your recollection if we were to take a look at that, a specific page of that grand jury transcript?
Sure.
Yeah, the trooper formerly known as Prince. Was it Prince?
As Proctor.
Carrie
Trooper
didn't like
formerly known
her.
As Proctor.
No,
I mean,
it was Prince. The female is named Prince. She was the one where Carrie said there was an officer there. There was two officers there, Proctor and was it Prince? Yeah, female officer. Yeah, she really didn't like her. They don't like outside girls in their little circles.
Do you need a couple of minutes, Mr. Jackson?
I do, Your Honor.
So, juries, why don't you stand up and stretch, okay?
Stand up and stretch. Let's get ready. It's 3:27. Half an hour left.
Mr. Jackson, do you want a 5-minute recess? Sure. We're still going to stop at 4, so really 5 minutes, folks. So we'll have to get back to that.
Let's have a 5-minute recess.
verdict for a car crash victim in
Have
Florida.
do you suffer from mesothelioma? Please call Mo. She wants to know what mesothelioma is. She's seen all the commercials, wants to know if she should get some.
So I've been watching a whole lot of the last Karen Reed trial, right? I watched almost the whole thing, and then I went back yesterday, I think, and watched most of Jen McCabe again.
My son, I worry for you.
What the
Jen!
Jesus,
heads
my nightmares.
through all of this are unbelievable. I'm getting nothing but Ozempic ads, Lyft drivers, Lyft and Uber riders. There's apparently a class action lawsuit now for women who have been sexually harassed or assaulted by Lyft riders. So there's a class action lawsuit starting for that. And what was the other one? The other one was really good. Something about, I don't know, it was something about large women, about diets or something too, that have just been going hard.
I can tell you in Denmark, because we had a few taxi cab drivers who might also have sexual harassed women. So what do the smart taxi companies do? They're going to make a sticker that they'll put on the non-sexual assaulting cabs. My thought is, why just not fire everyone who does it? Because how can you guarantee that no one will get, this is a sexual assault-free zone?
Okay.
But, so you had all the great taxis before, and now you'll have 50-50. So you're kind of like, it's been a slow night. My boyfriend's out of town. Yeah, I'll take a quick bout of anal.
I'd rather not get into the sexual assault cabs, but I am in a hurry.
I mean, but Bill Cosby does need to be a spokesperson for something. And I think him and Jared could, I mean, they've already ruined Pudding Pops and, Subway. Why not,
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Jen! 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 Jen!
God, she sounds just like Marge Simpson.
Yeah.
Homer! Homer!
I'm just glad that it cleared the copyright. I hope I did get the email or the update that it's cleared. So I hope, yeah.
Where's the? I got one the other day that.
But $20 is $20. Valhalla probably. Yeah, is it cheaper to ride in a grape taxi? So you can sit there and say, well, it's late in the month. I'm not getting paid till Friday.
Payday's not till Monday. I'm gonna have to suck it up this time.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh my God, that's the tagline. Payday is until Friday. Suck it up, taxis. Oh gosh, sorry, Baker.
That's terrible.
Not been 3 hours.
I love it.
Also, if someone can make me that T-shirt, I would really appreciate wearing it and selling it in my merch store. But I suck out loud at graphical stuff.
Somebody sent me.
Retrial gets a mention specifically regarding Kerry Roberts' text that were screenshots that were not admitted because they couldn't be authenticated once the digital copies of the text. Well, then you have to subpoena someone. Well, I'm sorry, Gina L, but we try to make you laugh because we have a lot of downtime.
Well, yeah, that, and honestly, we have to listen to Jen McCabe's voice and then break it down and try to remember all that she's saying. Although
and remember
I will
what she said the last time and what we know is true, and it's such a hassle.
Hey, you guys, you male guys, and me as a female, I think when you raise your hand and promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, it doesn't have an addendum that says, unless they didn't ask you that question and or you forgot.
Or you remembered now, but you didn't remember back then because you said it 11 times. But now you remember clearly that that wasn't what you said. And the lead investigator took the damning statement, I did it, and said,
Meh.
What's the fun in having a suspect admitting to the crime? It's no, I want to do police work. Come on, I'll go and do all. We didn't do the detective work. If I'd just written down that statement, it would be so much easier.
It is really funny because I do want to see if Matt McCabe is testifying. You know, he's driving. Again, we are evolved to take human-shaped objects and notice them, even if they are in our peripheral vision, and we're a T-Rex like Jen McCabe. So if confronted by Jen McCabe, this is not advice, but just go still and they can't see you, just like in T-Rex, just like in Jurassic Park. She will be
Actually,
unable to see
they
you.
believe that the T-Rex was one of the best evolved seers in. It's just something they made up for
Okay,
Jurassic
well
Park.
then damn you, Spielberg, I hate you.
It's as MG said, you will, especially because you look in patterns, because again, I'm here every day almost, so I know kind of, okay, everything is in order. I have all the trash on my table so that you can't see, but everything is in order. If tomorrow I came in and there was a jigsaw doll sitting up here with a little note from Brandon say, watch out, I would notice that instantly, because there is not normally a jigsaw doll right here, because our brain is always checking patterns. And if that pattern is destroyed, especially a pattern where we are all the time, we will be, it's kind of like after I cleared out the Brandon board. Thank you so much, Brandon. I'm seeing the cupcake a lot because it's not normally there because it's been covered up. So now I see it all the time. The rest of it is just filler in the background. If you go in and place something in, instead of Mo's pin-shaped backdrop, you went in there and put a bad dragon. I don't know what it is. Something little D said, hey, you want to buy me this? I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I think Jen's looking beautiful. She's got blue on today. She looks slimming. I mean, she's looking the best I've ever seen her.
Terrible. Terrible.
But there's no way anyone who drove past didn't notice, oh, there's all of a sudden a human-shaped object.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jen's husband, what does he do?
He's a digital guy.
Okay. So he's probably the only one who would be forgiven for not having situational awareness of a police officer.
Well, he could also be the guy who could destroy evidence on a phone so you can't find it. Everyone that Alessi has cross-examined has turned out to be a lying liar that lies, and Karen is extremely lucky to have him on this team this time. T-Rex, I agree, but also Alan Jackson interviewed this one, and she's also turned out to be a lying liar who lied. Listen, Mo, at your resident T-Rex, please don't compare me to Jen. I'm not a liar who lies, and I'm pretty awesome, and Jen is a raging biche.
Well, she would be the mega kahuntasaur. She would not be in the same same family, but not same lineage. So, Kahuntasaurus and T-Rex share a common ancestor, but she split off to the Massachusetts Kahuntery.
Yeah, so we don't need that much brain power to check our surroundings. As long as everything is as it normally is, our brain will not. It'll just go on. But the instant, that's why something crossing the street where you're driving, you'll instantly react to it. If there's a box in the side of the road, you'll also, hey, what's that? But if you're just driving becomes one of those automatic things, kind of like breathing or brushing your teeth. You don't think about it because you've done it so many times. The instant something changes, you will be, or if you're driving a new place, it'll be really hard to drive because you have to concentrate on driving.
Later in the morning, after you're back at 34 Fairview, after the police have already cleared the scene, and you're back with your friends and family inside the home at 34 Fairview. We've already talked about the fact that the witnesses were not sequestered in any way. They were not separated in any way by the police. Is that right?
We were just sitting together with friends
Right.
and family. So yeah, no.
Everybody was free. All the friends and family that were in there were free to talk amongst themselves, which you did do, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody had the opportunity to say their piece and to listen to others say their piece as well.
We had conversations. It wasn't really nothing
Really?
more than that.
At some point, you did, I think you mentioned this on direct examination, you did reach out to Mike Lank. Is that right?
Yes.
Remind us who Mike Lank is in your world, in addition to being a Canton police officer, police sergeant, I think he was at the time. Who is he in your world?
He was just a local guy that I, knew was friendly with.
And had gone to high
She
school
doesn't
with-
know.
No.
Have you noticed she has no friends? She
Yeah.
knows people and she has her family. She doesn't know anyone.
To
That's
be
all they-
fair, who would be consensual friends with Jen McCabe that it wasn't related to her?
She has one friend.
She has a
John
pool.
O'Keefe. She has John,
She has a pool.
John O'Keefe is her only friend she ever had. And she's become friendly with Carrie Roberts. She has no friends. She has acquaintances and family. It's such a Middle Eastern way of seeing the world. It's the clan
It is.
before the society.
It is very clannish. It is very, but it's also very, New England. My dad's from New Hampshire. When I go to visit there, you'd think that like I had come from the sideshow. This was before I discovered wigs and my hair was a normal blonde. But because I was a different blonde they hadn't seen, they're like, "Oh, you're from Indiana, are ya? Oh, you want to go see the car? I saw that. I saw Indiana on something. You guys have that race car driving thing, right?" Yeah. So it is a very clannish sort of mentality.
It's just weird because I just noticed there's no one who's friends with anyone other than John O'Keefe. My good friend, John O'Keefe.
Was he ahead of you in high school?
We weren't in high school at the same time.
Got it. He was about 5 years ahead of you, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. But you've known him or known of him from basically childhood or young adulthood.
Yeah, I just knew him from around town.
At some point, you decided
You've known him for 30
that you were
years.
going
No
to
big deal.
call Sergeant
He's
Lang back to the
acquaintance.
scene because there was a piece of information that you wanted to provide him again. Sorry, provide him so he needed to come back again.
Yes,
Ultimately, you called him on his cell phone, right?
I did. Yes.
So you were close enough that you had his cell phone number. He had your cell phone number.
No, I didn't have his cell phone number.
Where'd you get that number?
I asked Julie Albert for that number.
So Julie had his cell phone number,
Yes, she did.
and Julie is Chris's wife.
Yes.
She was at the location.
Yes.
When I say the location, 34 Fairview that morning,
Yes.
as was Chris.
He came at some point. I don't know if he was there when I called Officer Lank or not.
As was Brian Higgins, correct?
Yes, he was.
He came back over to the location as well.
Yes, he did.
As a matter of fact, it was Brian Higgins who suggested that you reach out to Officer Lank.
I'm not sure if it was him who suggested it.
Someone
You said
suggested
that.
to you that you reach out to Officer Lank. Is that right?
As I was sitting there remembering things, I believe, I can't say
Sitting
who
there
did or didn't.
remembering things.
So as you were sitting there remembering things,
mean
you were
when
just
you were all
remembering
writing
things,
down
you were
a
remembering
timeline
things and then
collectively?
telling others things that you remember.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yes.
others were absorbing whatever information you were providing to them, and vice versa.
No one was really providing me any information because they didn't know what happened.
So you were sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was just sitting there trying to recount what had transpired since I got that 4:53 phone call.
And one of the things that you decided you wanted to tell Sergeant Lank was a statement by my client.
Yes,
So you call Sergeant Lank on his cell phone, and you're able to get a hold of him, correct?
yes.
Whatever he's doing, I'm guessing he's busy at the time.
I don't know what he was doing.
He's a first responder on a death police officer case that was hours old. So he had to be busy.
I would assume. I, again, don't know what he was doing.
But in fact, after you got your phone call, you dropped everything and headed back to 34 Fairview, correct? Did you come back to 34 Fairview?
He was there fairly quickly, yes, I would say.
Your request.
Yes, I called him and asked him to come back.
Because you told him that you had information that was important enough that he needed to get over there so you could tell him in person what this new information was.
I called him and told him that I was remembering things and asked if he could come back.
And he didn't just say, "Guys, just tell me what it is on the phone." He literally said, okay, I'm gonna get in my car, drive in a blizzard. It was still a blizzard, right?
Yes, it was.
I'm gonna get all my gear on, drive the blizzard back over to 34 Fairview, get out of my cruiser, come into the house, and get ready for this new information that you're gonna give me, correct?
He did not say all that, no.
No, that's what he did.
I have no idea what he did. I called him and then he came.
Well, he didn't
That's,
walk over. I mean, he came over in his car, right?
I would assume so, yes.
Right. So he had to hit his car, drive over a blizzard, get out of the car, walk through the blizzard, go to the front door, and get ready for this new meeting that he's gonna have, correct?
Yes, that seems like steps one would take.
And whatever it was that you wanted to tell him, you let him know it was important enough to have a special additional meeting. It wasn't something that you were just gonna sit on. You wanted to give him this information immediately without hesitation, correct?
He said if I remembered anything to give him a call, so I did.
So when he came back over, he obviously had a notepad and a pen in his hand, correct?
I believe he was taking notes.
And you told him, you testified this morning that what you told him was Karen Reed said, I hit him, right?
Correct.
But when he wrote this report, you said, she said, I hope I didn't hit him, correct?
I don't have his report in front of me.
Yeah, just wondering.
Yes.
You're absolutely right, Baker. Nobody seemed to be friends with each other. At the same time, if you happen to be drunk, you could just walk into the nearest house, borrow their couch to sleep it off. Yeah,
Right.
why lock the door? Your German Shepherd won't annoy anyone who just goes in and lays down in your front room because you're such a heavy sleeper. You wouldn't notice till you come down the next morning, and then Coco would say, "Hey, I'm just gonna clean the counter. You want waffles? Do you like syrup?" And you're like, "Oh, holy fuck, this is not my house." Thank you, T-Rex.
That's
Thank
what
you.
happens when you get the cheaper Uber. You go to the wrong house.
turn
That's
to the orange
it. That's
tab.
if that's the great van.
I know
You see
you're
that?
lying because your
Yeah.
lips are
Okay, you have a
moving.
chance to read it?
Just the highlighted.
Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. In fact, what you told Officer Lank was something to the effect of, I hope I didn't hit him. Correct?
Incorrect. I told him that she said I hit him.
He wrote in his report, that you just read, something to the effect of, I hope I didn't hit him.
Sustained.
She
Is
just
this
read it.
another example of an officer getting a report wrong?
Objection.
Is that report right?
Your Honor. Objection.
Sustained. Move on, Mr. Jackson.
Why can't he ask that question?
Why can't he ask that?
Yeah.
I hope I didn't hit him, or something to the effect of, I hope I didn't hit him. Sounds an awful lot like, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Do you agree with that?
Get near to the
It
microphone.
does sound similar, yeah.
You testified yesterday that during that first phone call, that first phone conversation with Ms. Reed at 4:53 a.m., she told you, according to your testimony, that in that phone call, in that very first phone call, Ms. Reed said she had gotten into a fight, her taillight was cracked, and she asked, could I have hit him or did I hit him? Correct?
Incorrect.
Tell me where I'm wrong.
First phone call, she had said we got into a fight and he didn't come home and I left him at the waterfall. In the second phone call, once I told her that I saw her outside of my sister's house on Fairview, that is when she said, could she have hit him, and talked about her taillight.
So 2 hours after Ms. Reed found John O'Keefe and began giving him CPR, you were interviewed by Sergeant Sean Good, correct?
Objection.
Ask the question differently, Mr. Jackson.
2 hours after Ms. Reed found Mr. O'Keefe, about 2 hours later, say 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, after the scene was cleared, you were interviewed by Sean Good, were you not?
Objection.
Sustained.
May I report, Your Honor?
Yes.
Why can't he?
That might have been
Yeah,
a compound question.
Or leading because, he's asking
He's
her.
on cross. He can
Yeah,
be on cross.
he could have said,
Well, then
you were interviewed that morning at 8:00. Yes. By Sergeant Goody. Yes. Maybe that could have fixed it.
Yeah.
True.
But Sergeant Goody was the one who manned the 911 desk, right?
Yes, and also left and went to the scene after that.
Yeah, and he was there because they didn't have anyone else, and he just left the 911 table because he's also a family friend.
I thought he had to bring somebody in. I thought
he called someone in.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because he was in charge.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. While you were at the scene, after Miss Reed had been giving CPR,
Oh, he wasn't allowed to talk about that.
Sean Good interviewed you, correct?
I don't remember a formal interview with Sean Good.
Do you remember talking to him?
When he arrived at the scene, I do remember briefly talking to him after all three of us gave John CPR.
And he gave you,
Why all of this weaving in? All three of us gave him CPR. It's not relevant. Her and Carrie has been home working this up. Oh, Jen, people on the internet have said you're a cold bitch because you didn't help with John. Can we say I helped give CPR? Yeah, let's do that.
It's all in defense of her own ego. Again,
Yeah.
she has purported herself for years and years to be the sports mom, the, good wife, the good mom, all of this. So it feeds her ego. And this is something that she will never back down from. So you could have her on video not doing CPR, and she will say, I remember, because I remember some things are ingrained in my memory, and I remember giving CPR. So maybe the video didn't get it because, it just, it
I
didn't
love your
see me.
Boston accent just turned British.
It did. Look, she's Boston by way of Ipswich.
Ipswich.
Great. Is that a good Ipswichian accent? Anyone?
he asked you certain questions about
Really
what you'd
hoping
seen,
that's a town
what
name.
you'd heard, what had happened, correct?
Ipswich is.
I have to tell you that I remember seeing him there, and I remember talking to him, but I do not remember specifics of any conversation or any questions that he asked me.
Do you remember him do you remember him asking you about any initial calls
Yeah.
you had and you telling him about that 4:53 call and the early morning calls thereafter, the initial calls before you met up with Miss Reed?
I don't recall.
Did you tell Sergeant Good, by the way, he was a sergeant at the time. Sean Good was a sergeant, not an officer.
I'm not sure.
Okay. By the way, you knew Sergeant Good, did you not?
I didn't know him. I knew of him, like I knew his name, but that was it.
How'd you know of him before that day?
Because his sister is a year or two younger than me, and I knew she had a brother that was younger, that was a Canton cop, just through the town, but I didn't know him.
Okay, friendly, but not friends.
I wouldn't even say I was friendly with him.
Okay.
Is his first name Johnny?
You actually told Sergeant Good at the
Is he from
time
the
when he asked about
past
those
or the
first
future?
phone calls that when Miss Reed called you, she was inquiring about John's whereabouts, correct?
Again, I don't recall my conversations with Sean Good.
You certainly never mentioned to Sergeant Good the incessant screaming and hysteria that you've described here in court.
Objection.
Did you ever mention anything about an argument or a fight to Sean Good?
Objection.
Sustained, Mr. Jackson. She said she didn't remember. Next question.
I have to go through the series of machinations. I don't know what she remembers and doesn't remember.
Next question, Mr. Jackson.
Did you mention anything about a cracked taillight to Sergeant Good?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you have no memory at all about what you talked to Sergeant Good about?
There were many officers there,
Right.
and like I said, I know I talked to Sergeant Good, but I do not remember the specifics of my conversation during that chaotic scene.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
Let me ask a different question. There were many officers there, and many officers were asking you questions, correct?
Correct.
Did you did you tell any officer while at the scene that during those first few phone calls, first couple of phone calls with Miss Reed, that there was incessant screaming and hysteria?
Again, there were many officers asking me questions.
That's not the question. Did you tell any one of the many officers that I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, my tail light blew out, Bella's mom is a skank and I killed John because of it? any one of those statements made to anyone at the scene, at any interview,
Okay.
or at any grand jury testimony, anywhere before you came into court last year? Anywhere.
Baker, stop shouting. In 3 years, she will remember clearly what she was supposed to testify today. So we are simply too close to the present to see her future too.
I'm just fed up.
Oh, that's funny.
It's
I know,
almost
but
10
Bev-
o'clock. I have to be
Can
up
Bev
driving
Mercy
to
call
Baby
this?
Baker in 8 hours. And I have to listen to this idiot saying, so you texted at the door at 12:45? Yes. So when you saw the car at the door at 12:40, I never set a time. Did you tell any cop? I don't remember what I told. There was many cops. That's not the fucking answer. I speak this language as the third language, and I understood the question. Any. That incorporates Sergeant Goody and everyone else.
God. No,
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna close all the
Baker,
tabs on her phone.
We are quibbling about words. They're not important. It's the general gist of what I said. I don't understand. It's wordplay.
I was in shock, Your Honors.
Shock and
Fighting
horror.
more regarding
words.
John was if he had medical issues or concerns, things like that.
Right.
It was a chaotic scene. I don't remember any specific
But you
questions
remember
about phone
clearly
calls.
that
I
you said-
apologize.
But you did tell at least one officer about the initial phone call that you received
Fuck it.
indicating that John may be missing, correct?
I possibly said
Well,
I
Hala,
got a
we're
phone call
on
and that's
our
why I'm
own.
here. We all
This
came out to look for
cannot
him.
be
I apologize for
bailed
not
again.
remembering specifics.
Did you tell any officer at the scene anything about an argument or fighting that Ms. Reed said occurred on that first couple of phone calls?
Again, the conversations were very brief and they were with a lot of different officers. There wasn't
yes or no?
in-depth conversations.
yes or no?
Let her answer the question.
Do you recall? That is a yes or no question. Do you recall telling any officer about a conversation in the initial couple of phone calls that you had with Ms. Reed about fighting or being in an argument? Do you recall that?
I cannot answer yes or no.
Well, you either do or you don't. If you
I
don't,
said
say
there
you
was
don't.
many different conversations. I am not sure.
So you don't recall.
I'm not sure on specific conversations about that. I apologize.
Is there a reason why you're not telling us that you simply don't recall making that statement?
Sustained.
Do you recall telling any officer about a cracked taillight that came up in one of those first two phone calls
At the scene,
at the scene?
again, I think all the conversations were about what was happening in the present time.
And literally, this was a couple of hours after this incident, correct? When everything was freshest in your mind.
These conversations were at the scene when Miss Reed was running around screaming.
Were you also interviewed by Officer Mullaney?
Again, there were many officers there that I spoke to.
Ms. McCabe, do you understand my question? Did you understand the last question I asked you?
If I spoke to an officer, Mullaney,
Correct.
again, I could have. I am not sure. I don't remember every officer. It was a chaotic scene. I had just found my friend on the ground.
So the answer is, I don't remember.
That guy?
I don't remember speaking to him. No,
That guy in
sorry.
the snow.
Later that morning, you did have a conversation with Officer Lank that you actually do remember, correct?
Yes, correct.
What you told Officer Lank, or Sergeant Lank, was that you received a phone call from Kaylee's phone and that Karen Reed was distraught because John never came home, correct?
I told him she was, I don't remember the exact words, but I told him something like she was hysterical and screaming and said John never came home.
You never mentioned that she said anything about a fight during that initial phone call, correct?
Again, I'm not sure what exactly was said during that initial phone call.
You never mentioned that she said something about a cracked taillight in that initial phone call or those two phone calls, correct?
Are these phone calls with who?
Oh, for God's sake.
Who are these
I
phone
said
calls?
Bev
Who am
called-
I speaking
The
to at this
initial
point?
phone calls that you had with Miss Reed,
Yes.
you never mentioned to
Baker, can
Officer
I say
Lank,
the word?
Sergeant Lank, that Miss Reed mentioned anything about a fight or an argument, correct?
I don't remember.
You never mentioned anything about having Miss Reed saying anything about a cracked taillight in one of those two initial phone calls, correct?
Again, I don't remember all the things that I told Officer Lank.
And you certainly never mentioned that Miss Reed said anything about could I have hit him during in either of those initial phone calls, correct?
Again, I don't remember my specific conversation with Officer Lank.
But you remember
So
clearly
you
that
don't
you told
remember
him.
the conversation that you had with Officer Lank when it was the clear light of day. You'd had a chance to take a beat and a breath. catch your breath because it's now 11:30, 11 o'clock in the morning.
AJ's magic 8 ball kicks in with 10 minutes left on the clock. The question remains, will he do more research at the waterfall again tonight? If I didn't have to go up and drive tomorrow, I might have been at the waterfall at the high top tonight.
You don't remember anything about that conversation, but according to your testimony, you remember in detail what my client said, waking you out of a dead sleep. Correct?
So I didn't speak to him at 11:30. It was earlier in the morning when he came back to Fairview.
Let's call it 9 o'clock. Whatever.
Okay.
Right? Whatever. It wasn't the same chaos as my client screaming into the phone that John came home, waking you out of a dead sleep, correct?
Correct.
But when you recounted that conversation or those conversations to Sergeant Lang, you didn't say a thing about Ms. Reed saying that there had been an argument, did you?
I'm saying I don't remember the specifics of my conversation with Officer Lank. I'm also saying that I was woken up out of a dead sleep. Karen showed up at my house screaming. I went out to help her look for John. And then we found one of my closest friends on the front lawn. And she was saying crazy things and acting crazy and
Ms. McKay,
acting
that's not my
erratic.
question.
And so every
Ms. McKay,
police
that is
officer
not my
that I
question.
spoke to,
Let her finish.
every police
And we've
officer
got
that I
the
spoke
crazy
to,
eyes.
I
Why
tried to
is she
answer their
allowed
questions
to
the best I
do
could.
this? This
It
is
took
very
me hours
prejudicial
and in
against
some
the
cases days to remember
defendant.
all the things that Miss Reed
Yeah.
had said. My mind, I was in a state of shock.
Wait,
But the
remember
minute I
when we tell
remembered, she
witnesses
said,
we'll
I hit him, I
rehab
hit
it?
him, I hit him. I called Officer Lank.
And your memory's getting better, even as we sit here today, correct?
There are certain things I will never forget, Mr. Jackson.
Including the fact that you never, ever, ever said, she said the words I hit him to a grand jury when you were asked about it 3 months afterwards. Correct?
She said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit
You
him.
never told that to the grand jury, did you?
I don't remember specifically that every grand jury and everything I said, but I can tell you with 100% accuracy, she screamed, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
You never said that to the grand jury.
I don't recall if I did.
You were there to get the truth, correct?
The truth is, she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
You were asked.
This is so wildly inappropriate that she just
It
keeps
is.
on. I hit
And
him, I
Bev
hit him, I
just
hit him.
allows it.
Yeah,
yes
and
or
Bev
no
should
answers.
shut it down.
Because that's
I've
what
never-
other judges say. Judges
Yeah.
say, they say yes or no, and then your will, rehab you.
Yeah.
Specifically answer the question you're asked. No more, no less. That's
Bev,
just
if you're not
He's
going to
had no
control
problem.
the witness, can we stop for today? Because I'm done with that. I'm done with both of you right now.
Yeah.
Clearly, Jen McCabe has had no problem following these instructions before, like in the grand jury when she wasn't asked whether Karen Reed said I did, whatever. That was her excuse for not answering the question in the grand jury. But now she's got every detail that she wants to throw in there for every question asked. Horse
Yeah.
shit.
It's so stupid.
That specific question at the grand jury. What did she say at the scene in front of the female EMT? And you know what your answer was? You do, because you just read it.
I wasn't asked what she was said at
What
the
was the
scene.
answer to that question?
I'm objecting.
The objection sustained. Ask one more clear question, Mr. Jackson.
What
It
the
was a
answer
clear
you gave
question.
Oh shit.
In answer to the question about what was said by Ms. Reed to the EMT, the female EMT at the scene, what did you say she said?
I don't know if I was asked specifically what she said to a female EMT.
All right, we're going to end this now.
Your Honor, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
I can't end it like this. You said-
Okay,
she
jurors,
said-
ignore the comments of counsel. Ask one question, Mr.
What did he
Jackson.
You
say?
said that she
I can't
said,
let it end like
could
this.
I have hit him? Did I hit
Or
him
end it
in
like
the
this.
presence of the female
Yeah.
EMT? That's what you testified to under oath at the grand jury, isn't it?
Yes, because she also said that.
All right, so folks, we are done for today. You remember tomorrow is the day that we're not in session. So we will see you Friday. Friday is a full day. And I have
Oh,
to give you those
thank you,
questions.
Jesus.
File
I
that
mean,
back to the
I love you
jurors.
all.
Please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into the case. If you happen to see, hear, or read about the case, please disregard it and let us know, and be very careful with your social media. Have a great night, a good day off tomorrow. We'll see you on Friday.
This is so highly inappropriate.
Goodbye.
That they are allowed, that she's allowed to just editorialize and said, well, I heard it. I heard it.
Hey there, Karen Reed trial watchers.
up.
You know what a lot of the trials we cover remind me of?
You know what I don't trying to remind me of? That
Well, probably
Why
the
do you
circus
have-
music in your head.
can you Mo?
Yes.
That hair.
He has a pompadour, and then he's really
A pompadour,
This
a
is really
widow's
thin.
peak, and that nose. That is a face for radio. I am such a horrible B word because like I said, look, okay, you guys, in fairness to this absolute douche, I will show the side profile of my nose because I make fun of people for their noses and I have a honker. So you're welcome.
It's not that big.
That's not that big.
Well, when you're a girl, it feels like it. Look, I may have been told I had a big nose a lot. So that
But
being
remember,
said,
we know rackets. So
well,
they got nothing.
Rackets wasn't big when I was in middle school. Could he have been there for a girl, with a headgear, just grew double D's and apparently a giant schnoz? Could he have been there for me? But no.
Yeah. We blame rackets. Where were you when Mo was getting
Where
all
were
the
you
weird
when I was
attention for guys
awkward?
who are saying, "Oh, I really like that part. I really don't like that part. What I like that part. What that part." I have weird feelings.
We'll say that looking back, growing the double D's did take away from the headgear, so I shouldn't have been so pissed off at both of them. You get wiser as you age.
Yeah, when you figure out that, oh, these open doors, then
The rack
don't
of
mind them.
justice opens the doors to just about everywhere.
Open a button, open a door.
Well, I have to get up early tomorrow and go to see Baby Baker. So I'm going to do a quicker out today.
Cool. I'm excited to see
Sounds
what
good.
Brennan does tomorrow on Redirect.
Yeah, because there's no court tomorrow.
Or
You
Friday,
just said,
Friday,
yay, no
Friday,
court
Friday.
tomorrow.
Friday.
Well, did he mean last question for this time period or last question for
Yeah, he
cross?
said I
Because-
couldn't let it end like this with her screaming.
Well, but I didn't know if he meant like end the day or
Yeah, he could have, I guess.
because
He
I'm
just
wondering if he doesn't have more questions.
I guess I didn't
But
hear
he
him
can-
say he was done, did he?
No. He just said one last question. He said, I can't let it end like this. So
Maybe he's not done.
I don't think he's done because he never
think
went
there's-
into. We haven't talked about 227 yet.
We sure haven't.
And we
sure
haven't talked about her heart rate, proving that she was totally asleepeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I wish today was Friday so we could do a Friday beer.
Yeah, seriously.
That's all right, though.
well, I'm pretty sure
I'll
that
have my own Friday beer.
if you go on your goat stream that Brandon would gladly join you over there and have a beer with you.
I need to make sure my Redirect set up.
Oh, that's right. Me too. Baker didn't remind us he's expecting us to get better on our own.
Been doing it for 2 weeks now.
Well,
Today was actually the
Baker-
first day I haven't set up a Redirect. And that was only because my goat cam went down temporarily for a couple hours.
But fair be fair, justice be justice, lawyers be lawyers. I think we have a big old problem. Alan Jackson needs to, he knows she's going to be like this. He lets her free reign and he needs to be better at it.
I still think they got the T-Rex skeleton wrong. They were wings. They were wings, y'all.
makes sense.
No, with those funny little hands because then they could go around saying, ooh.
Well, wouldn't you be pissed off if you had little arms and a big old head? You couldn't pick your nose. I mean,
What was that cartoon? I've got little arms. And
Arms.
a big head.
that's Meet the Robinsons. It's from Disney. He's got the little smart hat on him that makes him a smart T-Rex.
The T-Rex is trying to trap the
I
guy
love-
in the corner and his head's in the way. Like, I got little arms. And a big head.
Big head. It's not gonna work.
On that high note, I'm going to check out because Baby Baker in 8 hours. See you all Friday. I don't know if there will be something from court, but if there's something from court, I'm pretty sure that some of We'll figure it out. Hasta la taco.
Later, y'all.
Jen! Jen! Misreads.
Yes.
Jen! 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 Jen!
Get cut and dry. Pretty simple. Just pin it on the girl, right? Pretty simple. Just pin it on the girl, right?
Objection.
Pretty simple. Just pin it on the girl, right?